Alright, we are back with more 428 Shibuya Scramble. We are entering into the next hour. So let's go ahead and start with Mr. Kano. Following Kano's directions, Stanley drove toward the crime syndicate's hideout. There was a good chance that this was where Maria was being held. Traffic was practically non-existent, and they made good time. They cruised down Miyamazuzaka, then passed the train station toward Dogensaka. All the while, the two men stared out the windshield, neither inclined to make conversation. They arrived at the Shinsencho intersection. "Take a right here," Kano said. "You nervous?" Stanley asked as he made the turn. His own tone was calm and level. Kano gave no reply. If this syndicate really was holding Maria hostage up ahead, he and Stanley might wind up putting her in danger by showing up there. If it came down to it, Kano wondered, could he count on the man next to him taking the hostage's safety into account? He doubted it, but there was nothing he could do about that now. They arrived at the syndicate's hangout sooner than Kano had anticipated. It was a multi-tenant building in Tomigaya, southwest of Yoyogi Park. The ratty building looked like it might come crashing down at any minute. The Black Lodge sign out front looked deliberately ominous. The Black Lodge! This is another Twin Peaks reference. What is with all the Twin Peaks references in this? Kano knew the place as a bar frequented by expats from various countries, as well as hotbed of criminal activity. "I'll take point," Stanley said. "You back me up." He pulled a handgun from his suit pocket. It was a compact Glock, a model frequently used by the FBI or CIA. Alright, Glock. Glock 17, a semi-automatic pistol developed in Austria for police and military use, notable for its incorporation of large amounts of polymer or plastic in its design. A certain Hollywood film included a line of dialogue claiming that the Glock would not show up on airport x-ray machines, but since the gun barrel itself is made of metal, this is assuredly not true. FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, an American investigative bureau established by the U.S. Department of Justice in 1908, has authority in matters involving crimes that cross state lines, as well as threats to public order, such as espionage and terrorism. Generally speaking, the FBI conducts its activities within the United States. Central Intelligence Agency, one of the principal agencies of the U.S. intelligence community, reporting to the Director of National Intelligence. Possessing considerable budgetary resources and a vast network of highly trained personnel, the CIA carries out intelligence gathering and covert operations, primarily overseas. In recent years, the organization has been devoting major efforts to counterterrorism. Kano drew his own gun, and the two cautiously made their way inside. They immediately heard some sort of ruckus from beyond a wooden door at the far end of the hall. "Please don't let this be what I think it is," Kano thought to himself. Sweat beaded on his hands as he gripped his gun tighter. He heard the sound of glass shattering. Then came the sound of something heavy falling to the floor. "Maria!" Ignoring Stanley's previous order, Kano rushed ahead, kicked down the door, and stepped inside. He walked right into a massacre. There were nearly a dozen bodies sprawled out across the floor. He thought he recognized them all, the men who participated in the repeated attaché case handoffs. Each appeared to have been stabbed to death. Had these guys all turned on each other? No, that couldn't have been the case. None of the victims were holding a knife, which meant that whoever had killed them must still be hiding nearby. No sooner had Kano come to this conclusion than he heard a muffled cry behind him. "Stanley!" The American was sprawled on the floor, face down. Kano rushed over and knelt beside him. Stanley was dead, stabbed through the back. Whoa! Well, he wasn't in this for very long. Without an instant hesitation, Kano stood up again, gun at the ready. He scanned his surroundings, but there was no sign of the killer. But that was impossible. Stanley had been killed mere moments ago. Someone had to be here, somewhere. Or is this a bad end? Out of nowhere, he felt someone press the tip of a knife into his neck from behind, right at the base of his skull. How? He hadn't noticed anyone coming up on him. There wasn't even anyone else around. Nobody but the corpses scattered across the floor. Wait, the corpses? Kano hadn't checked them. Hadn't checked to make sure they were all really dead. With his last thought, he realized that it had been his fatal mistake. Oh, it is a bad end. What the heck? Bad end. I thought they were dead. Alas, there's nothing to be done for poor Kano now. He wasn't prepared for whoever is wielding that knife. Sometimes it's best not to rush things. Kano and Stanley might not have had their run-in with the killer if they turned up a bit later. There is someone who can cause a traffic jam at 1310, which should keep these two from meeting such a grisly end. Oh, okay. So we have to cause a traffic jam at some point. Good to know. Alright, who's up next? How about... We usually do Achi next, so let's do Achi. The man with the cane crooked his finger on the trigger. Achi stepped in front of Hitomi, shielding her with his body. If you want to shoot her, you have to shoot me too. Suddenly, the assassin's head jerked forward. He pitched face first onto the pavement and lay still, revealing a foreign man standing behind him. Wait a minute, that's the kidnapper from earlier. In one hand, the stranger clutched a metal pipe. Hitomi, Achi asked. You know that guy? Hitomi's eyes went wide. That's the man from the Scramble. The one who told me to go to the van. Wait, one of the kidnappers? Why would he help us? I'm not sure. The newcomer fixed his eyes on Achi. Hey man, Achi approached the stranger. I'm not sure what's going on here, but thanks for the assist. Whoa! The man took a sudden swing with his pipe. Achi barely managed to dodge out of the way. What the hell? Once again, Achi made sure Hitomi was safely behind him. Guess I gotta let my fists do the talking. Achi quickly adopted a fighting stance. Be careful, Hitomi warned, her voice trembling. Don't worry, it's just a pipe. I'll just snatch it away from him and make him tell us where your sister is. Achi judged the distance between them carefully as he stared his opponent down. The metal pipe gave this thug considerable reach. One solid hit from that thing, and Achi wouldn't stand a chance. He needed to end this in one punch. The crook sized him up for a few moments, then lunged forward to attack. Now. Achi sidestepped to avoid the incoming blow, then delivered a vicious left hook to his adversary's jaw. The man went down hard. Achi gazed at his fallen foe, flexing his knuckles. The thing about guys who bring weapons to fights is they always let themselves get too cocky. He looked the guy over. The man had a tattoo peeking from one of his ratty sleeves. Come on, buddy. You can't clock out just yet, Achi said. Get up. I've got a few questions for you. He knelt down to grab the man by his collar. Halfway to his feet, the man pulled a gun from his breast pocket. Whoa! Didn't know you were packing heat. Achi took a quick step backwards. The man's eyes brimmed with rage. He looked ready to pull the trigger at any moment. But he didn't get the chance. The man with the cane regained consciousness. Back on his feet, he trained his own gun in the foreigner. The foreigner quickly shifted his attention to the other gun. Oh, no you don't! Achi darted forward and kicked the kidnapper in the hand as hard as he could. The gun went flying from his grasp. With a low snarl, the man took up the metal pipe again. Rather than go for Achi, however, he charged the man with the cane. What the? Achi watched in astonishment as the two men grappled. Now's our chance. Grabbing Hitomi by the hand, Achi broke into a run. They ran for a long time, finally stopping to rest in a quiet municipal park. As they sat catching their breath, Achi sensed a new tension in Hitomi. She hadn't said a word since their latest escape. She has to die, Achi. It's for your own good. In his mind, Achi replayed what the man with the cane had said. So, Hitomi, Achi hesitated, about what happened back there. Yeah? She sounded like she'd been far gone in her own thoughts. You gotta believe me. I have no idea who that guy was. Never seen him before in my life. He must have been saying that stuff to confuse us, to trip us up. Yeah? Hitomi said again. Is that what's been bothering you? Huh? Now it was Achi's turn to go monosyllabic. Well, Achi, you're kind of famous around Shibuya, right? I don't know about that. Way back when, he'd been the leader of SOS. Nowadays, he was just some guy who picked up trash. That was nothing to brag about. When someone's famous, it's not unusual for someone else to recognize them and know their name. So yeah, I was surprised back there, but no matter what that man may have said, I trust you. I mean, look at how many times you've put yourself in danger to protect me. You told me he sounded pretty resolute. Machi was glad that she believed him, but that raised another question. So then how come you've been so quiet? I've just been thinking about things. Like, what that man from the Scramble might be after. It was true that his actions didn't make a lot of sense. Yeah, he seemed more interested in taking out the man with the cane than going after you. I gotta say, like, mistaken identity doesn't make sense. I think it's two different groups. Maybe there's bad blood between them. Achi let out a little chuckle. If we're lucky, maybe they'll take each other out for us. He felt a rush of relief, reassured that Hitomi didn't doubt his motives. Regardless, though, we have to track down that blue van. The sound of a child's cry came from behind them. Turning to look, they saw the kidnapper rushing toward them. He knocked over a little girl who was in his way. No rest for the weary, Achi sighed. Yet again, he had Hitomi splinting away. Why are they still in the park? You think he took out the guy with the cane? Hitomi's words came between pains and puffs. Maybe. Achi glanced back at their pursuer. What? There was someone else with them. Now they were being chased down by two foreigners. I like this better than we were just running away from one guy with a cane. In a one-on-one fight, Achi was confident that he was safe. One-on-two, though, that was a different story. One guy might get a hold of him. He was facing off against the other. He had to make sure they lost these creeps, no matter what. Well, we gotta keep out. We gotta jump to somebody else's story now. And the burning hammer bottles are all broken. Bottles of burning hammer litter the pavement, shattered into tiny bits of glass. Even if the recycling guy was really careless with the boxes, it shouldn't have caused this much of a mess. It looks like someone came along and actually threw them all over the place. The heck with this thing. I toss away the miracle stone, which has clearly brought me only bad luck. We can't have a product demo without a product, which in turn means I won't be getting paid for this whole fiasco. Okay, we can do this. We can figure something out. I try to give myself a pep talk, but I hear the doubt in my own voice. I try to brainstorm anyway. Finding inspiration is like trying to squeeze blood from a stone. I rack my mind for the best course of action, and at long last I arrive at a conclusion. To sell some burning hammer, I'll have to find something else to sell. The burning hammer's all broken, so we'll have to do this. I'll just have to find something else to sell. But what could that something be? I try to think. Finding inspiration is like trying to squeeze blood from a stone. Did we say that already? I rack my brain, searching desperately for a solution. Anagachis? Nah, not exactly a must-have product, and even if we could sell a few, I don't know what they'd say about the folks carrying them around. Best for the whole world if we keep them off the streets. Let's see, what else? Aha! I've got it! I pick up the miracle stone I just tossed away, clutching it firmly in my mitt. I tilt my gaze toward the heavens and make a wish. Please. Grant me a miracle. And my wish is granted. Like one, please. I'll take 10. Mr. Yanagashita can really keep up with me. Man, the crowd clamors for my miracle stones. Everyone is smiling and laughing, their bodies enthusiastically swaying to and fro. You are happy. You are happy. You are all very, very happy. Standing on stage, I hold up my miracle stones, swinging it like a pendulum as I recite my magic in his hand. My miracle stone. vibrates with cheering and rumbles with applause. It really is like a miracle. I think I've actually turned this disaster around. If you ever smashed out the burning hammer, I don't know who you are or where you are, but thank you. I realize now that I'm crying tears of joy. I've never felt satisfaction like I feel right now, seeing these blissful clusters, purchasing one miracle stone after another. It feels like nothing could possibly go wrong. Honestly, I'm just grateful to God that I get to be here right now. I have the utmost conviction that this is where my life really begins. It's not long after the epic sales event that I'm hired on by Yamato Health Foods. This is a bad end? Pretty soon after that, I'm on a plane bound for South America. I'm on a business trip to purchase our next product. You still are in the cat suit? Amazonian Miracle Mud. Bad end. South American business trip. Tama prospers in her new life as an employee of Yamato Health Foods Co. Limited. This is but one possible future for her. And hey, maybe it's a pretty decent one. Still, wouldn't you like to see what happens if she sticks to Burning Hammer? I guess so. I'll get back on your railroad game. Tama just became, like, a business mogul, but whatever, we'll undo that. Alright, at the loading dock... No, shatter. Alright, what are you selling? I'll buy it at a high price. Conclusion. Alright, somehow or other, I'm gonna have to sell some Burning Hammer. Somehow or another, I'm gonna have to sell some Burning Hammer. The flyers have already been handed out. People have come to the demo expecting to get Burning Hammer. I may have to put in into some new bottles, and possibly water it down some. But that might be for the best, given that it, like, killed Kano earlier. But getting this stuff sold is my only option. My eyes alight on one of the cardboard boxes, and I notice an odd mark stamped on it. Wait a sec. I've seen this before. I recall something Cheery said earlier. This is the sort of thing they'd sell in 100 yen shops or something. The mark on the box is the same one I saw at the shop that's selling the necklace. That's it. I can see if there's more of the knick-knack shop. Guided by this ray of hope, I head for the knick-knack shop as fast as I can. Okay, ray is outlined, so let's read it. A glimmer, a sliver, the ever-dwindling light in the distance. Point is, there's not much. As soon as I reach the main road, I crash right into someone. Oh, it's Cheery. Yeah, it's Cheery. Oh, hey, you find it. You find it? She asks. She makes it sound like it's not really her problem. Not yet. I think we can stock up at that 100 yen shop. The words are hard to get out when I'm panting as hard as I am. For now, just stay calm and let the boss know. Got it. Leave it to me. Cheery nods and I break into a run. I'm practically praying as I rush into the knick-knack shop where I immediately spot the cardboard boxes I saw earlier, still stacked up. Yes, I'm in luck! I dive into one of the boxes to check what's inside. It's packed with tiny bottles. There's no mistaking the noxious red liquid inside. That's Burning Hammer, alright. That's 50 bottles per box, and there are 4 boxes total. Assuming each bottle is 100 yen, including tax, I can buy the whole lot with my 20,000 I've got in my wallet. Mr. Yanagashita said he was selling the bottles at the demo for 15,000 yen apiece. If we sell all 200 bottles, he'll be able to pay back his debts no problem. Well, what's the deal with you? The sales clerk's eyes go wide when he sees my getup. Oh no, it's the guy from earlier. This stuff! I'd like your entire stock. I pointed the Burning Hammer, and the clerk makes an awkward face. I'm afraid that's already been sold. What? You mean like all of it? Nobody in their right mind could possibly want all of this. Yes, all of it, I'm afraid. I'm not going to roll over that easily. Whether I can earn that extra 20,000 or not hinges on whether I can get this stuff. Please, you've got to help me out. I'm afraid it's out of my hands. And could you get in touch with the buyer? Tell him I'm willing to negotiate. I suppose that wouldn't be an issue, but actually, would you mind waiting for just a moment? She said she'd be by ASAP. Wait, is it Cheery? After 5 minutes of waiting, the buyer still hasn't shown up. I don't think she's coming, I say. That's odd, the sales clerk murmurs. She said on the phone she'd come by just after 1 o'clock to pick them up. I really need this right away. I understand that, but please, it's out of my hands. By now the sales demo has already started. If I come back empty-handed, what was the point of all this effort? Gimme. I've already said I can't do that. Gimme! Would you please wait a moment? Why did I spend all that time trying to hand out samples? Why did I put this stupid costume on? Why did I miss out on lunch? Why? What was it all for? Eek, look over there, it's the Chupacabra. Huh? Yoink! Seizing the moment, I snatch up the boxes of burning hammer and make a run for it. Hey, hold it right there, miss! The sales clerk is quick to borrow my bag. Oof! I barrel my way right past him. I bump him harder than intended as I race by. He loses his balance and goes crashing through the display case at the front of the shop. At the same time, I hear something else topple over with a thud and a gargle. Some sort of liquid begins to gush from a red polyethylene container. Uh-oh. Sales clerk's eyes goes wide, his stare fixed on something on the sidewalk nearby. It's a cigarette. No way. The burning butt ignites the liquid in a sudden, massive blaze. Now for today's news. Shortly after 1 o'clock this afternoon, there was an explosion at a variety store in Udokawacho in Shibuya, the cause of which remains unknown. Eyewitnesses report seeing an individual wearing a full-body cat costume fleeing the scene in the aftermath of the explosion. Police consider this individual a person of interest and have not ruled out the possibility that this bombing was a terrorist act. Several hours after the incident, the cat remains at large. And here comes the bad end. Yep. Alright, fled the... Tama wound up as the prime suspect in an apparent terrorist bombing. If the buyer had shown up earlier, Tana's argument with the sales clerk might not have happened, to say nothing of the rest. As a matter of fact, the buyer was just outside the shop at the critical moment. She was held up when she happened to run into someone. That someone's actions at 13:05 are the key to changing Tama's fate. Is it, the wife of the one guy? I bet. She seems to be, showing up and all sorts of things. Osawa. Yeah, we can jump in. Yeah, let's jump into Osawa. This seems fun. I don't deserve to be forgiven for what I've done. We may have both done the same thing, but my motives, those were different, so I don't regret what I did. And yet, if someone were to ask if there was some small part of me that wanted to see the results of my research, I could not deny it. Osawa grabbed his shoes from the entryway and headed for the back door. He didn't want the detectives in his living room to know he was going to meet with Makino. That pest, Kajiwara, was nowhere in sight. Now was his chance to slip away. Gotcha. Speak of the devil. Kajiwara had snuck up behind him. Are you going out? The detective asked. No. I was just... Osawa felt something inside his shoe. Glancing down, he saw a rubber duck stuffed inside it. Is this your doing? I laid a booby trap. A ducky trap. A booby trap. Originally a type of lethal trap used during wartime to catch clumsy or unaware soldiers, boobies. In modern parlance, however, the term frequently signifies a harmless prank, such as setting a blackboard eraser atop a classroom door so that it falls under the head of whoever opens the door. Kajiwara beamed with self-satisfaction. You know, you act like a grade schooler, Osawa said. Indeed, sir. I am a grown man with a youthful heart. Leave it to Kajiwara to yet again miss the point entirely. With a sigh, Osawa tossed the duck at him. Kajiwara caught it nimbly in one hand, then stuffed it right into his pocket. I won't tell you that you aren't allowed to leave, sir. I'll ask that you tell me where you've been and where you plan on going. My work is highly confidential. I'm not at liberty to discuss just anything about... Please try to work with me on this, sir. Kajiwara interrupted. He leaned in and comfortably close. Do you recall what I said before? About how I'd appreciate if you didn't keep secrets from me? Osawa hesitated, inwardly debating how much he should share. Should we tell him the truth? Should we say it doesn't concern him? Or say I'm going to buy some cigarettes? We'll do the first one. He decided to tell the truth. Alright, I'll tell you. Just leave me in peace. One of my colleagues is waiting for me outside. Who is it? I'm sorry, that's all I can say. Could you tell me a bit about what you'll be discussing? Kajiwara leaned in even closer. His eyes twinkled with suspicion. I can't share corporate secrets, Detective. Like how you don't tell me anything about the state of your investigation. It goes both ways. It might have been childish reasoning, but it worked on Kajiwara. Alright, the detective said. In that case, I have just one condition. Please take this with you. He produced something that looked like a small transceiver from inside his coat. What's this? It's a bug tracker, sir. It'll beep in response to a nearby listening device. I'm just going to meet someone from work. I don't need this. He pushed Kajiwara's hand aside and the bug tracker fell to the floor. Mr. Osawa, you mustn't underestimate the lengths to which these kidnappers might go. For once, the detective's face was all seriousness. Alright, fine. Osawa snatched up the device and headed out the door. Makino's car was parked out front. A driver sat alongside him. Osawa exchanged a wordless greeting with him and they got into the back. He found Makino reclining in one of the luxurious leather seats. Now then, Makino said, what did you want to ask me about? Lighting a cigar, he glanced sidelong at Osawa. I was hoping you could explain the situation to me, sir. Which situation would that be? So he was still going to beat around the bush, even now. Osawa suppressed an urge to shout at him. Are you the one who let the antiviral out of the lab, sir? Yes, that was me. Makino didn't bat an eyelid. So why'd he be so coy a few moments earlier? How? The fingerprint authentication system is almost unbreakable. Getting access to the storage area would... He trailed off as a thought suddenly occurred to him. It was not strictly true that fingerprint authentication was the only means of entry. Osawa and Tanaka had both set up passwords as a failsafe in case an injured fingertip somehow prevented them from operating the scanner properly. But those passwords were 10-character alphanumeric strings. No one could just haphazardly fumble their way in. Could Makino have sent a request to the electronic locks manufacturer and asked them to unlock it then? No, that required the approval of 6 board members, and Osawa was one of those 6 people. There really seemed to be no way of getting in without leaving any trace. Absolutely right, of course, Makino said with a grin as if reading his thought. I couldn't gain access to the lab without you and Tanaka, but I didn't have to. He exhaled a large plume of smoke. You remember when we released the samples for animal testing? No, it couldn't be. Osawa broke out into a sweat. But it could, Makino said. I had them divert some of the samples intended for animal testing. Naturally, that didn't leave any record of anything being taken from the lab. Osawa bit his lip hard. He couldn't help but feel betrayed by his company. But why? Makino let out a nasal one-note chuckle. You don't seem to grasp just how valuable this thing really is. What do you mean by that, sir? Makino lowered his voice. There's a major world power out there that has already weaponized the UA virus. The UA virus. For a moment, Osawa thought this was just a sick joke, but the look on Makino's face told him otherwise. I've been informed it was recently used in a military installation in the Middle East. Within 12 hours of dispersal, there were at least 800 casualties. If you include civilians, the number jumps up to over 2,000. Any evidence of the disease agent of the bomb and delivery has, of course, been covered up. Osawa listened in amazement. He was outraged that any government would commit such an atrocity, not quite suppressing his excitement when discovering that the virus could be propagated by explosive means. He felt a flush of guilt at his own fascination. The antiviral you created yourself has the potential to render the weapon useless. Right now, Akoshi Pharmaceuticals is its sole means to combat it. Makino's lips curled into almost a grin. Any number of countries would love to get their hands on it. The major power in question has offered an unprecedented sum. That's probably its weakness. Having a monopoly of the antiviral makes the weapon itself much more valuable. To Osawa, this was a glimpse into another terrifying world that he had barely managed to imagine previously. So you wanted to get human testing over with as soon as possible. Is that it? He spat. Makino shrugged. I explained full well to the locals what the risks of experimentation were, and they were paid in accordance with said risks. They blatantly consented to infection with the UA virus. Sophistry. Nothing more. Use money to deceive a bunch of poor farmers. Come on, Osawa. Who's being disingenuous now? Makino eyed him with contempt and let out another laugh. I know you, Osawa. I know you're not really concerned with some bunch of hick farmers. All you care about is your research. The thing that's really nagging you right now is that someone went ahead and did the final clinicals without you. It will spare me the ridicule, sir. As a virologist, I have a moral duty to... To what? Makino barked. To go to the media with this? Do you have any idea how much money the company has thrown at your lab to keep it running? How much money? Osawa's lab has incurred expenses of roughly 30 billion yen in developing the antiviral medication. Akoji Pharmaceutical spends approximately 200 billion yen per year on research and development. Osawa's work is the single most costly element of that budget. Osawa gasped. I do appreciate all the company has done for me, sir. He spoke so quietly that his voice was nearly inaudible. In any event, Makino said, now that you know about the human testing, I can't let you go to America. How do you know about that? He'd insisted that I keep his planned relocation a secret, but apparently she told her father regardless. If you insist on making the move anyway, I'll use any means necessary to stop you. Makino regarded Osawa with a bloodshot gaze. Any means necessary. Osawa swallowed the lump in his throat. Sir, you don't mean that my daughter's kidnapping was... Oh, don't be ridiculous, Makino said before Osawa could finish. Of course that wasn't me. Nevertheless, I'll do what I must to keep you in line. Remember that. Understood, sir. I'll turn down the U.S. job offer. Osawa heard his own voice like the thin drone of a tiny insect. He felt utterly powerless. I can't simply take your word on that, Makino said. Do it now. I want to hear you do it myself. He jutted his jaw. How do you do that? Toward the phone in the backseat console. Shoot. So we can either say yes and do it, or we can say, can we have a little more time? Let's see if we can have a little more time. Couldn't this wait just a little bit, sir? Osawa asked. Maybe you can still find a way out. You already know what my decision is, Makino said. His tone carried an edge of intimidation. Osawa didn't reply. He simply stared at the telephone. He felt like an insect who had all its legs plucked off. You need to think about your wife, too. Makino's words were barely above a murmur. Realizing that his boss was speaking as I, his father, Osawa couldn't bring himself to resist further. He reached out for the phone. It would be around 10 p.m. local time for the American firm. He decided to call his contact's personal phone. The headhunter was shocked to hear that Osawa wanted to decline the position. When he pressed for the reasons behind the decision, Osawa hung up. Visibly relieved, Makino lit up a fresh cigar. Sir, there's one thing I don't understand. And what's that? Osawa's head was feeling fuzzy. The smoke inside the vehicle had gotten extremely thick. If someone has this top-secret information, why wouldn't they threaten the company as a whole? Why send those emails to me personally? I'm not sure. There's an internal investigation already underway. We'll find the source of the leak soon enough. At this point, though, Osawa wasn't sure, knowing who originally leaked the info mattered much at all to him. I beg my pardon, then, sir, Osawa said. He put his hand on the door handle. A sudden, high-pitched chirp sounded from his pocket. The bug tracker Kajiwara had given him picked up his signal. Is that your cell? Makino asked. Oh yes, that's mine. He hurriedly hopped out of the car and reached into his pocket. Is everything alright, sir? The driver was still waiting outside the car. He leaned toward Osawa, looking concerned. Was it you? Osawa stepped close to the driver. Did you send me those emails? What? What are you talking about, sir? Don't play dumb with me, Osawa said. You're the only person who could have planted a listening device on a company car. Listening device? The driver raised an eyebrow in confusion. What are you after? Sir, what are you talking about? Who told you to do it? Tell me. The driver fled back into the car. Osawa clutched the bug tracker hard as he watched the vehicle pull away. He went back to his house, still gripped by confusion, to find Ai waiting in the entryway. She must have gotten home when he was out. You were with my father, weren't you? She sneered at Osawa as he slipped off his shoes. Yes, I was, he replied, and it's over. What's over? She knows damn well what. He struggled to contain his irritation. America! I'm not going, he huffed. Oh, really? Well, that is good news. She sounded sincerely pleased. Maybe a little more pleased than Osawa cared for. I need to go finish up some work things, he mumbled. He hurried to his study up on the second floor. He threw himself down in front of his computer. There hadn't been any progress in the investigation, as usual. Just how long was this all going to go on for? Were all kidnapping cases this drawn out? Kidnapping cases. A specialized victim support team belonging to the Special Criminal Investigation Unit has been deployed at Osawa's house. The members of this team are all specialists who have received training in such skills as negotiation, high-speed motorcycle and automobile driving, running, phone traces, special communications, and phone records acquisition. Osawa was growing more and more uneasy. He could barely contain himself at this point. Wasn't there something, anything, that he could do? He glanced over at his monitor. That's an idea. He could look up kidnapping investigations on the internet. That might give him some insight into the current situation. Yeah, let's Google it. Kidnapping, police investigations, hostages. He typed the 3 keywords into the search field. The engine pulled up over 100,000 hits. He scanned the beginning of the list for anything that might be useful. One of the site links caught his eye. How the police do it. It looked like a page containing information on various types of police cases. He clicked on the link for kidnapping cases and began to read. Even if the hostage wound up safe in the end, the site informed him, the police lost face if the culprit got away. And if the hostage were killed and the kidnapper evaded capture, the media would have a field day. This made apprehending the suspect an absolute necessity. Even if a person's life was on the line when it came to a kidnapping case, the police prioritized making the arrest. Taking his hand off his mouse, Osawa sat back and thought. He wasn't going to be able to relax until he heard Maria's voice again. What if the police prioritized arresting the suspect? Why were they just letting things stay in limbo now? Didn't they have the crooks under surveillance? He couldn't wrap his head around that. The internet hadn't been able to give him the info he'd hoped for after all. Unable to do anything for Maria but wait. He turned his thoughts to how his opportunity to transfer to the U.S. had passed him by. The research facilities in America would have been top tier. Some part of him still couldn't quite accept what had happened. He stole a quick look back at the door, then surfed to the Ayakamiki fan community for people 40 and over. Whenever someone was weighing on his mind, something he posted to this forum seemed to turn his mood back around. He knew that now really wasn't the time to be doing this, but he needed to do something to calm and quiet his mind. He started a new forum topic. In the title field he wrote, Ayakamiki expanding into the U.S. With Ayakamiki still at the height of her popularity, does anyone else think it would be exciting if she ventured into the American market? I know I would. She's not the sort of artist who deserves to be confined to Japan. She should be recording in an American studio staffed by the industry's best. I'd love to see her career really take off over there. He wound up getting into a little back and forth with himself. Hopefully he'd get a response from someone else soon. A sudden shrill noise startled him so much that he nearly cried out. His heart fluttered like that of a young child who'd been caught in some prank. Realizing that the sound was coming from the bug tracker, he pulled it away from his pocket and took a few breaths to steady himself. Evidently, someone had bugged his study as well. Tracker in hand, he walked toward the center of the room. What direction was the signal coming from? He tried heading over toward the window. Here, maybe? Next he headed over to his desk. Here, too? The bug tracker was picking up signals from all over the room. Had there been that many listening devices planted in here? Mr. Osawa, it's Kajiwara. Ah, perfect timing. Osawa hurried to let the detective into the study. The bug tracker's picking up signals. Why is he wearing slippers? Oh? Yes, from all over the room. What should I do? Mr. Osawa, please calm down. As if that's even possible right now. I feel like there must be maybe 100 listening devices in here. Kajiwara didn't miss a beat. Let me be honest with you. That bug tracker is broken. What? Osawa was dumbfounded. Broken? But this is the one I got from you, right? Well, yes, but mine isn't detecting anything. Kajiwara produced an identical bug tracker from his pocket, and as he'd said, it wasn't getting any signal. As I recall, Mr. Osawa, that one was dropped on the floor when I was trying to hand it to you. Ah, yes, that's right. That must have been when it broke, sir. strength ebbed from from Osawa's body. He didn't even have the mental energy to be angry anymore. He gave the tracker a whack with the palm of his hand and the beeping stopped. Right, he said. What can I do for you? Kajiwara clapped his hands together as if he just remembered something. Ah, right. We have a big problem. The toilet again? Osawa sighed. No, it's not that. It's something worse. Kajiwara's face turned grim. Something worse. Why would I ignore him? I can either... is something going on with Maria, or ignore him. Let's not ignore him. Had something happened to Maria? He needed to hear the detective out. What is it? Osawa asked. Go on, tell me. He did his best to remain composed. Well, you see... We ordered lunches for everyone. It looked like there were 2 still left over, so I wound up eating them. There was an awkward pause. Osawa didn't have the foggiest idea of how to respond. My deepest apologies, sir. I ate the lunches intended for you and your wife. Kajiwara bowed profusely, and I really do need to apologize. They were tonkatsu bento boxes, and they were delicious. The meat was so tender, and the batter so crisp. With each and every bite, the rich flavor just filled my mouth more and more. Osawa felt the blood vessel burst in his skull. Listen, you get your goddamn act together. Or, he didn't get to finish that thought. A pathetic little gurgle sounded from his stomach. See? Kajiwara said, you are hungry. He fussed sheepishly with his hair. At the talk of food, Osawa realized abruptly that he hadn't eaten anything since the night before. Shall I make something for you? The detective asked. This isn't my fault, after all. You can cook? Osawa wasn't sure how thrilled he was with the idea of Kajiwara helping him. You mustn't judge people based on outward appearances, Mr. Osawa. Alright, fine. Go ahead, then. His newfound hunger was making it hard for him to think. It would certainly behoove him to eat something. He led Kajiwara to the kitchen. What's with that get-up? Wearing an apron in the kitchen is a must, sir. The cartoon character printed on the apron Kajiwara is wearing is one of his own design. It's modeled after the MPD's mascot. His name is Pinpo-kun. Alas, it isn't while I'm naked. What? Wearing an apron in the kitchen is a must. Alas, it isn't while I'm naked. Naked? Oh, are you not familiar with the concept of the naked apron? The naked apron. The state of being entirely naked save for an apron. A form of cosplay. The views from the rear, front, and sides all offer a certain appeal, but caution must be advised, as it may be difficult to stop arguing about which presents the loveliest sight once the topic is raised. There are similar, more sexualized, naked styles as well, such as the naked sock, the naked shoe, naked necktie, naked ribbon, naked scarf, naked collar, and so forth. There you go. Game. You need to calm down. I could demonstrate if you like. No, that's quite alright. Where'd you get that apron anyway? It's mine, sir. Have you had it with you this whole time? Yes, in here. With a smile, Kajiwara pointed to his pocket. Of course. Osawa eased himself into a chair. His hunger was making him weak, and Kajiwara was making him feel like he was losing his mind. Oh, this is bad, the detective said. I need to whip something up for you fast. Something's definitely wrong if you don't even have a comeback. Osawa felt his anxiety mounting. Just what sort of food was this insufferable oaf going to make anyway? Probably nothing worth eating was his bet. No, we'll go with his food. We'll see if it kills us. For now, we just have to pray he wound up with something edible. Kajiwara appeared in the refrigerator. Goodness, you are remarkably understocked, he said. Let's see, could you please put these in the dinger, Mr. Osawa? Dinger, named for a sound a microwave oven makes when it has finished eating your food. The microwave at my house doesn't really go dang when the timer reaches 0, though. It's more just a beep. But it doesn't make sense to call a microwave a beeper when that's already a word that refers to something else. Thanks, narrator. The detective handed Mr. Ozawa some frozen lumps of rice. A dinger? The heck is a dinger? Microwave oven, sir. Ozawa stepped in front of the microwave. Unfortunately, he had no idea how to work the controls. Should thaw that rice out as soon as possible, Kajiwara told him. I'm actually not sure how to operate this thing. What? The detective gasps. You don't know how to use a microwave? Osawa could only nod in silent shame. It should be just as simple as turning the dial. Wait, which one? That one, sir. One on the right. Osawa turned the dial and then crossed his arms with a satisfied grin. Mr. Osawa, you need to put the rice in first before you do that. Well, then why didn't you say that? Osawa snapped. I've never worked in a kitchen in my life. I'm not asking you to do things that are this difficult. Very well. I'll handle this from here. Why don't you get out the bowls and the chopsticks then, sir? I have no idea where the hell those are kept. Kajiwara let out a heavy sigh. Alright then, please just sit and wait, sir, he said. And here, take this. Kajiwara pulled out a sheet of bubble wrap from his pocket. Use your fingers to pop the bubbles. That should help you calm down. Too drained to argue, Osawa did as prompted, starting to pop his way along the sheet. Rather than calm him down, though, it was making him incredibly cross. This felt more like a sort of ridiculous punishment. They say you can learn a lot about a household by looking in the fridge, you know. Kajiwara was cooking something in a frying pan. And? Osawa asked. Just what have you learned about mine? I'd better not say, sir. You might take offense. Osawa snapped another bubble between his fingers. Ah, the rice is finished thawing. Kajiwara topped the steaming bowl of rice with the fried egg he'd whipped up in his pan. Then, as if it were an afterthought, he added some pickled vegetables. There you are, sir. Your fried egg on rice is complete. One of Kajiwara's simple recipes. Others include his white spaghetti, which is simply spaghetti that's been flavored with butter, salt, and pepper after it's been boiled. Both are a bit too basic to be properly called cuisine, but it does take a certain skill to bring the best flavor out of the ingredients with such simple seasonings. Kajiwara grinned from ear to ear. Go ahead and eat it while it's still warm. Osawa received the bowl with a dubious look. You aren't very good cooking, are you? He said. All you had in your refrigerator were eggs and pickled vegetables, sir. I assure you, it's quite delicious. I recommend breaking the yolk and mixing it all together. Reluctantly, Osawa brought a bite to his mouth. That's good. The words came out almost unbidden. Isn't it just? Egg yolk and pickled vegetables pair quite well. Osawa couldn't help but stuff his face, slipping into a rapturous daze as he did. The more he ate, the more it stirred his appetite. I had no idea fried eggs could be this delicious. I know you probably have a long ordeal still ahead of you, sir, but please keep your chin up and hang in there. Kajiwara gave Osawa an amiable smile. Oh, that's right, he continued. And for dessert we have bananas. No, thank you. Kajiwara grimaced as Osawa held up his hand in refusal. Right then, when you finish eating, would you please wash the bowl? Me? Wash dishes? Osawa exclaimed in surprise, sounding like a petulant child. If someone else cooks for you, you should do the cleaning up. It's only polite. Fine, okay. While Osawa was doing the dishes, the bug detector went off again. Director, if you have a moment. Tanaka poked his head into the kitchen. I've got something urgent to discuss with you. Jeez. Every floor. Oh no, it's a keep out. Well, I guess we're going to, Minorikawa. What's he up to? Right. Left. Minorikawa sprinted down Center Guide, dodging oncoming pedestrians. Out of my way! Catch people see him in a hurry? He stole a glimpse at his watch as he ran. He was just after 1 o'clock. The Burning Hammer sales demo would be getting underway any moment now. He'd probably get an interview even if he showed up late. Still, he wanted to get to the venue ASAP to get a feel for things before they got started. The best time to scope out an event was before it started and after it ended. It was something he learned from Tayama. Everything he knew about journalism, the publisher had taught him. Oh, that's why he's so loyal to him. I wondered about that. It had been a combative education. Minorikawa learning despite himself as the two men constantly butted heads. Oh, give me a break. What's wrong with my article? Minorikawa shouted. His voice was loud enough to carry throughout the editing department. Shut up! I told you to rewrite it, so rewrite it. Toyama sticking to his guns. Minoru Kawa recalled the scene from the days when the two men had worked at the same newspaper, and Toyama was his boss. At the time, Toyama was the copy editor for local news, known as the Red Pen Gatekeeper. He would go around checking young reporters' copy like mad. Due to his vigorous efforts, a great many articles never made it to the page. What's wrong with it? Show me what's wrong. All of it. How could it be all of it? Co-workers stared, keeping their distance as the pair screamed themselves red in the face. These arguments had become a regular occurrence, regular enough that everyone had learned not to try to intervene. I poured my heart and soul into this piece. Go back and read it again. I could read it over and over, and it'd still be the same thing. A load of self-important claptrap. Now go down and write me a more neutral piece. Neutral. Taking neither of two opposing sides, the media typically seeks to adopt citation needed, to adopt a neutral stance in reporting the news. Frequently, however, biased reporting still results in one-sided thinking taking hold amongst the general public. In the end, it is up to the individual to make an objective assessment of any news event. Calm down, you must be joking. I write what I feel in my heart. That's the one thing I refuse to back down on. That's the one thing that'll keep getting your copy rejected. Aren't you the one who told me to be bold and daring with my writing? Yeah, I did. But I don't remember telling you to write me garbage. By now, Minoru Kawa and Toyama were practically at each other's throats. Still, despite those almost daily shouting matches, Minoru Kawa never resented Toyama. Not really. How could he write a piece in a way that would shut Toyama up? We'll figure that out. This is how he developed his skills as a reporter. Up until he quit his position at the newspaper and started his own publishing company, Toyama had been a stubborn old man in the finest sense of the term. Stubborn old man, now a dying breed in Japan, the sort of been inclined to use knuckles before words to remedy a child's bad behavior. Inflexible but still emotionally brittle. Their signature move is to drive a wayward kid out of the house with the exclamation, "You're fool! You're no son of mine! I disown you!" Only to wait a while, go find the son, who's crying down by the riverbed, and calmly murmur, "Come on, your supper's getting cold." But then, in order to keep his company afloat, at some point he had abandoned all his ideals and principles. It was disgraceful. Just disgraceful. Thinking about it made Minoru Kawa's blood boil. It rankled him to know that such a pathetic remnant of a man had been such an influence on him. He reminded himself once again that he needed to wrap up his current job as soon as possible. By now, Minoru Kawa was getting close to the demo site. He increased his speed. He wound up barreling right into someone who's walking into a knick-knack shop. A newly opened variety store. The place is primarily a second-hand shop with posters inside proclaiming things like, "We'll take what you don't need, and we buy computers at top prices." Uh-oh. It was a girl about high school age. Von Dutch? Her pink thing said, her pink purse says. She jumped to her feet, then snatched Minoru Kawa by the collar. "Hey, watch where you're going!" she snapped. Her upper body strength was impressive, to say the least. The chokehold she had on his neck made it almost impossible for him to breathe. He had to do something fast. We're not going by Yakuza rules here, I guess. We're going to punch her in the face, or punch her in the gut, or say sorry. So, one of these leads to Tama blowing the place up. I'm guessing it's saying sorry to her and going on her way. So, probably, well... Actually, wait a minute. So she was late. So I think what he actually did was fight her. So let's say sorry and see what happened. Sorry. He bowed his head in apology. He was in too much of a hurry to get caught up in an argument now. But the girl didn't let go. Instead, she tightened her grip. "Look, I'm sorry for not looking where I was going." Minoru Kawa could barely croak out his apology. "Oh, fine. I'll let it slide this once," the girl said. She relaxed her hold with a scout. Wait, Tama's gonna have fun dealing with her. "Wait, hold on," she murmured. She stared good and hard at Minoru Kawa's face. "Hey, you're Mr. Minoru Kawa." Surprised, Minoru Kawa gave her another look. "Miku?" "Yeah! Oh, so you do remember me." She smiled with delight, apparently forgetting that she'd just been wringing his neck. "Oh, how long has it been?" she asked. "About 5 years, I think." "You still doing all your bonsai stuff?" "Nah," she replied. "I gave that up." Miku had been Japan's bonsai champion back when she was in middle school. The mention of bonsai likely calls to mind elderly hobbyists, but recently, this art is attracting more young people, as are other aspects of Japanese-style interior design. Varieties of cherry and maple, smaller than normal bonsai. I'm sorry, these asides are so random. Becoming popular with practitioners, as are fruit-bearing trees such as plum-leaf apple. There are even spherical balls of soil covered in moss, shaped to look like cute little miniature plants with plants growing over their surface. Alright. Oh, look, there's a bunch of pictures of the bonsai. I'm so glad. Did you not know what bonsai was? I hope you do now. Maybe you'll start it as a hobby. One day, local delinquents had vandalized dozens of Miku's bonsai pieces. Minoru Kawa had met with her when he interviewed her about the incident. "I want to get strong," she'd said. "Strong enough to beat these guys up." And so, Minoru Kawa had introduced Miku to an acquaintance of his who ran a martial arts dojo. "Well, you've sure gotten strong alright," Minoru Kawa said. "That's the sort of gal I am." Miku handed him a flyer. It read, "Ladies Mixed Martial Arts Pub Ride." What the heck? Bride, a show pub that began as a side venture for a group of female mixed martial arts fighters who were facing financial difficulties. There was an octagonal ring inside the pub, and the rules state that anything goes between the young women who fight inside. Oh no, guys. I think Tama is going to have to fight her for the Burning Hammer. I think that's what's going to end up happening. Customers are able to take in the fights while enjoying their drinks. Present this flyer for a free drink. It's a place where you can watch girls fight in the ring while you have some drinks, Miku said. That sounds pretty fun, actually. Minoru Kawa could feel himself being pulled in all the wrong directions by the prospect. You should come see one of my matches sometimes. I'm the reigning champion. Miku beamed with pride. Wait, you're the champion? Yikes. I think I apologized when I did. In that case, I'll definitely have to swing by sometime soon. Right now, I'm sort of in a hurry, though. Oh, sure, Miku said. Catch you later, then. She headed into the shop as Minoru Kawa rushed off toward the sales desk. Now, I wonder if that fixed anything or not, because that did distract her. Right? Because that ended up taking time. So I wonder if I, attacked her, if it would be shorter. We'll see what it does to Tama's storyline. At long last, he arrived at the Nokane building where the event was being held. The wall by the elevator was plastered with posters about Burning Hammer. Get it or regret it. As seen in magazines, 100% weight loss guaranteed. This is blatantly false advertising. The messaging was kind of a mess. It felt like they'd been thrown together at the last minute. Minoru Kawa avoided the elevator in favor of the stairs, rushing up to the event site on the third floor. Emerging from the stairwell, he saw more posters on the wall pointing the way to the sales room. He followed the arrows to a room deeper within the building. Opening the door, he saw about 50 chairs, most of them occupied by female attendees. There was a stage set up at the far end of the room, but nobody was on it. It appeared the event had yet to begin. Minoru Kawa quickly looked over the crowd. Roughly half of the women were somewhat elderly. All of them looked like they could stand to lose some weight, and for some of them at least, that ship had surely sailed some time ago. The crowd gazed at the stage with rapt attention. A beverage that allowed you to eat plenty and still lose weight was definitely an appetizing proposition. Could something like that really exist, though? Ah well. Minoru Kawa was just gonna have to wait and see. He did his best to get his mind into journalism, though. Time passed, but the demo didn't start. The audience began grumbling in frustration. Then a heavyset young woman took the stage and gave a little bow. It was the girl from the cafe, the one with the amazing appetite. The audience broke into applause, their patience finally rewarded. But as everyone leaned forward expectantly, the girl on stage began performing magic tricks. She twiddled a silk hat and pulled a bunch of flowers from inside of it. Sparse applause rose up from the crowd. The young woman immediately went on to perform another trick and then another. Ta-da! A coin in her hand became 3 coins as she spoke her magic words. She's not very good at this, Minorikawa thought, but whether she was good or bad wasn't really the issue. He had a tight schedule to keep. There was no time to stand around watching silly sleight of hand antics. Scanning the room, he spotted a man who looked like he was probably in charge. Minorikawa headed over to him. Hey, you! The one running this thing? Are you the one running this thing? Well, yes? When's the actual sales demo going to start? Soon. Very soon, yep. In how many minutes? You know, soon. I asked for a number. Just, soon. Real soon. This was getting him nowhere. 3 minutes, Minorikawa declared. He held up 3 fingers to emphasize his point. If this thing doesn't start in 3 minutes. If it doesn't start, then what? I'm gonna be heartbroken. I'm just gonna start a ruckus. I'm just gonna go home. I'm gonna start a ruckus. Yeah, because we know this guy. We know he breaks easily. I'm gonna start a ruckus. He kept his voice firm, his words short and clipped. Hey now, no need for that, sir. Just settle down. It isn't like a little magic show now and then. You've got 2 minutes. Hey, a minute can't have passed already. 1 minute. Whoa! Just what kind of watch you got there? Tell me why the demo wasn't starting. Well, you know, no real reason, really. The man was getting seriously flustered. I wanted folks to get to see a little magic show first. Nope, try again. 30 seconds left. Okay, alright. What happened is, the required merchandise, what happened to the merchandise? Minorikawa demanded. He gave the guy a dagger stare. Well, you know, it's just, Time's up. What? The man's face went pale. Oh, we hit a keep out. Okay. Now, did this fix Tama's story? It did, I think? Okay. Well, that's good to know. So we've all hit keep outs, but Tama's story can continue. Well, Kano's at a bad end. We can deal with that later. Alright. I'm practically praying as I rush into the knick-knack shop. Okay, yeah, we've read all this text already, so. Boy, this plot is thickening, like, super fast. This is getting crazy, guys. Oh, okay, so the dialogue's kind of new now. Yeah, I'm not going to roll over that easily. Whether I earn that extra 20,000 or not hinges on whether I get this stuff. You've got to help me out. I'm afraid it's out of my hands. Then could you get in touch with the buyer? Oh, yeah, wait, this is the same. So the buyer is currently outside talking to Minorikawa. Oh, there she is. So, fighting her was the bad option, so we did the right thing. Even as I'm speaking with the sales clerk, a girl wearing a hoodie comes in. She's got a tiny frame and a doe-eyed face. Hey, I've come to pick something up I reserved, she says. This must be the customer the clerk was talking about. Please pardon my intrusion, but would you be willing to let me have those diet drinks? I bow extra deep and my costume head wobbles all around. Wait, what? I'll pay you double what they're worth. No can do. I've never seen this brand before. I'm super curious about it. Surely you don't need this many, though. I do. I make my living with my body. This is about how much I'll need. Oh, wow, the sales clerk interjects. What sort of work do you do exactly? I'm a martial artist. I fight at a place called Bride. You might have heard of it? It's one of the more popular hotspots in Shibuya these days. Oh, I know the place, the sales clerk says, brimming with silly excitement. That pub where they have cosplay martial arts competitions, right? Hold on, what are we talking about now? What's Bride? I've seriously never heard of the place. It's a knife-fight spot. The ladies cosplay as anime characters, but they fight for real. I'm wanting to check it out, but they've hit their membership cap, the sales clerk explains. At present, the exclusive Bride has already exceeded its allotted number of members and is not accepting new ones. Given the buzz about how both the costumes and the fights are really something to see, memberships that are auctioned off online command quite high prices. So then, you must be pretty strong, huh? He says to the girl. Well, I mean, I may not look it, but I'm the current champion. The girl proudly adopts a fighting stance. Would you accept a challenge from me? I ask. A challenge? If I win, you have to let me have all of this. I love we just go straight to that. I knew it. I knew it. When we go straight to it, there's not even a choice. She just jumps right in. The girl breaks into a confident smile. Do you have an idea who you're dealing with here? She asks. I intend to find out. Oh wow, the sales clerk exclaims. I have just got to see this. I'm glad to have him egging us on. Well, if you're that set on it, then sure, I accept your challenge. Sweet. We've established our terms. This burning hammer may yet be mine. The girl cracks her knuckles, clearly eager for a fight. I've got to win this. Somehow or another, I have got to. I mean, I've got to be good at something. Facing off against this fighter is going to show me what I'm made of. I address my opponent. And by challenge, I naturally mean... Let's do rock, paper, scissors. Let's play a rhyming game, but let's have ourselves a straight-up fight. No, we gotta go full in. Straight-up fight. Let's have ourselves a straight-up fight. The girl grins nice and wide, like she'd been waiting to hear me say that. Okay, you're on. The name is Miku, by the way. Challenge accepted. Miku and I march out of the shop. Out of the pavement, we stare each other down. So if you win, I'll let you buy the burning hammer, Miku says. But if I win, I gotta keep it. You have to pay for it. What? Isn't that a little unfair? If you don't like it, then it's no fight, no deal. I don't have the time to rethink this. Alright. Ready whenever you are. Miku does a little brisk shadow boxing, throwing a repeated 1-2 combination. Shadow boxing, a training technique for boxing, involves practicing strikes, guards, and evasions against an opponent who isn't actually there. Whoa, what's the deal? Something going on? It's a street fight. A number of people pass by, including a businessman, a couple, as well as some pretty gruff-looking fellows. Some of them stopped to form a crowd. A couple. Achi Endo and Hitomi Osawa. They pass by while running away from some mysterious foreigners. Oh, so that's how we get back to Achi's story. Alright, we'll remember that, but we don't have to for now. The gruff-looking fellows are Asao Ozu and his underling Tutao Sagawa, members of the Tenryu Gumi Yakuza Syndicate. The Tenryu Gumi operates a lending firm called Takarada Financing, and these two have been tasked with collecting outstanding debts. Those are the two guys who are chasing after Toyama. They've already collected from one client today. Next, they plan on grabbing lunch before heading out to find their next target. The sales demo has already started by now. I don't have time to goof around here. I watch as Miku sets up a footwork. Humph! A left jab. She's quick. I can see why she's the champion. Ayah! She immediately follows up the jab with a wide right hook. A hook is a type of punch. Involves swinging the arm in a wide arc to strike the opponent from the side. In mixed martial arts bouts, it is common to see a fighter continue the momentum of the hook to catch the opponent by the arm, transitioning immediately into a takedown and pin. I jerk aside at the last possible moment and deliver a little swat to Miku's shoulder. Whoa! She slips off balance and pitches forward. Oh wow, what was that? The crowd has started clamoring. Miku rights herself to get back into a fighting stance. What the? How? She doesn't seem to know what just happened. This time I watch as she unleashes a kick with her left leg from a distance. One reflex I bring up to my right hand and adopt a guarding stance. Gotcha, she calls out. It was a feint. There's a visceral whoomp as the second kick connects, coming at me from a different angle. I like how she hasn't questioned the fact that she's in a cat costume. Whoa, what gives? My big mascot head serves to cushion the blow to the point that I barely feel it. Hey-ya! She proceeds to unleash a string of additional kicks with her left leg, trying to defeat my fuzzy arm. Eventually I catch hold of her foot. Holding her off balance, I begin to walk her backward, making her hop awkwardly on one leg. Kwa! A casual flip of my palm, Miku goes whirling through the air. Whoa! Oh! Ah! The crowd erupts into cheering and applause at the spectacle. Phew. You're tough. Who the heck are you? As you can see, I am a cat. A wry smile comes to Miku's face. To think a pride competitor could lose in a street fight. Guess it's time to go back to being an ordinary girl. Today is the day I retire. Phew. Good match there. Miku grasps my hand firmly, but hey, I'm just glad that my last opponent was you. The heck is this? Human rights and democracy. What is that back there? Right there, a skull. Why are human rights and democracy skulls? I hoist up the boxes of the diet drink. So, how much did this come to? I asked the sales clerk. He shakes his head. Oh, don't worry about payment. You've more than earned it with that spectacular display just now. It was really something. Heck, even I'm shocked at what just happened. It's amazing what a little desperation will do for you. What's that move you used? That was some Aiki Jujutsu, yeah? Aiki Jujutsu, a traditional Japanese martial art that emphasizes learning to anticipate an opponent's first move and instantaneously counterattack. Skilled practitioners can toss and throw opponents with a simple touch. The art predates the development of the more pacifistic Aikido, and so some dangerous techniques still remain. Huh? Oh, I guess. I tilt my head non-committally. Oh, come now. You don't need to be so humble. I'm a martial arts fanatic. I know my moves when I see them. Knick-knack shop owner Daisei Yasuda watches roughly 350 martial arts fights a year. He's particularly fond of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and is thinking about studying it himself. There's a dojo he's been eyeing, but he's rather timid, and he thus as far as only waffled non-committally about the entrance to the place. He can call it whatever he wants if he's letting me have the drinks for free. This is going to be a lifesaver. Is that all the shopping you'll be doing with us today? He asks. Actually, come to think of it, I do have one request, I say. Sure thing. Could you please not sell that necklace there? I promise I'll be back to buy it later. Sure, no problem. The sales clerk gives a deep bow. So what do you think the significance of that necklace is, do you think? I'm not sure yet. I don't have any theories. I did it. I managed to solve my burning hammer problem. Now I've just got to get back to the sales demo. Oh, that must be awfully heavy. Here, why don't you use that dolly? The sales clerk indicates the hand truck over in the corner. Oh, thanks so much. What? Oh, we don't get a blue text box for dolly? When explaining what that is? I guess not. I load the pile of boxes onto the cart and rush back to the Nokane building. By now, the sales demo will be well underway. I need to get back as soon as I can. If there's nothing to buy, the customers are going to leave. Everything I've gone through will have been for nothing. Come on, Tama, you can do it. Just gotta hurry. I charge for the demo, pushing the dolly ahead of me like a battering ram. Oops, sorry to keep you waiting. You're late. What the heck have you been doing? Mr. Yanagishita practically throws himself at me. Oop. Back. The weight must have been killing him. Standing behind him is a man I don't recognize. Who is that guy? Well, that's Minoru Arakawa, Tama. He doesn't look like a customer. Okay, Tama, just come with me for a minute. I follow Mr. Yanagishita into the break room. Sorry I'm late. There was a whole bunch of stuff that happened. But look, I got the product back. I proudly opened up one of the cardboard boxes. Ah, it's Burning Hammer. It really, really is. Yanagishita clutches the box close, nuzzling it with his cheek. How's the demo going? I ask. I've got Chiri keeping them occupied with some magic tricks. I sneak a peek through the door and see Chiri guzzling orange juice from a gigantic container, draining it in one go. Is that really a magic trick? If it buys us time, it's magic enough. Before long, the last of the juice is gone. Over in the corner of the stage, I see 6 more huge containers, all likewise empty. It's shocking to think that she may have drunk all 7 of these things dry. The audience erupts into sincere applause, like they've forgotten what they originally came here for. Chiri comes back to the break room, positively drenched in sweat. I think I should have stuck to doing imitations for a little longer. No, that was fantastic, Chiri, Mr. Yanagishita says. Just fantastic! Thanks to you, we have enough time to get the Burning Hammer back! He bows profusely. Alright, now it's time for the main event. Chiri, go out there and guzzle down some Burning Hammer. Get yourself all drenched in sweat. Got it? Aye aye, boss. And Tama, just go up there, smile all big, and say, this helped me lose a bunch of weight too. Got it? Got it. Good now then. Yanagishita gestures to a man I hadn't noticed before, who's been waiting quietly nearby. Of course, begging your pardon, miss. It's a service rep from the rental shop. Seems to try to get me out of my mascot suit. Masamichi Fukuma, employee of the Far East Costume Rentals, the only son of company president Shigamichi Fukuma. He is one of the few people who know what Shigamichi looks like, as his father is usually clad in a rabbit costume. Masamichi has harbored a strong dislike for both his father and mascot costumes, ever since the old man showed up at school on Parents' Day one year, dressed up in his inevitable rabbit suit. Nonetheless, the son has acquiesced to his father's wishes, and someday he'll inherit the family business. Oh, that's odd. The rental guy tilts his head. What's the matter? Yanagishita asks nervously. Oh, yeah. This is a no-go. The rental guy pokes his finger at the back of my suit. This here zipper? It's all jammed up. It's going to take a long time to get this thing off. What the hell? Mr. Yanagishita clutches the sides of his head. The rental guy tries tugging at the costume at various angles, hoping to free up the zipper, but like he said, it's no use. Ow. The rental guy's eyes widen at the sudden sound of a cat's mewing. What? Is that you? He looks at me, confused. Did you hear a cat meowing? Yes. Was it you? No, not me. I'm as surprised as he is. Must be hearing things. Mr. Yanagishita and Chiri don't seem to have heard anything. Bah! Yanagishita is fuming. Just my luck. I actually found a cute model and the crowd's never going to see her. Hey, boss. Chiri says the customers are going to leave if you keep them waiting much longer. What do we do? I'm going to go out there and do some more impressions? Chiriko's repertoire of impressions. 1. A sea lion yawning. 2. A harbor seal hailing a cab. 3. A walrus reading sutras. 4. A fur seal who can't reach the itchy spot on his back. 5. A stellar sea lion taking a nap. No, we don't have any choice. Tama, you're just going to go out there dressed like that. Are you sure? I ask. If those people go home, we're done for, he exclaims. Just get out there and get started. I'm counting on you two. Ladies, terribly sorry to have kept you waiting. Chiri and I spring into action on stage. But now I'm proud to introduce you to the unique worldwide sensation that is Burning Hammer, the latest product from the West that has taken the diet world by storm. Every seat in the house is packed. That means there's about 40 people here. We only need to sell 5 bottles to each customer in order to sell out, and hit with a sudden jolt of motivation. Allow us to explain just how this revolutionary new diet drink works. It's magic, Chiri begins. The plan is for me to describe how the drink works, and then Chiri will demonstrate it with a taste test. All eyes are fixed on us. I begin. For the first time in human history, you can drink a single bottle and lose a whole kilogram. Just drink and burn that excess fat away. Astonished gasps rise up from the crowd. Just take a look at this marvelous red liquid. Even looking at it makes you feel like you'll be shedding weight, right? Here's how Burning Hammer works. It activates the capsaicin found in chili peppers. Capsaicin. The primary... capsaicin? I don't know. The primary spice component of chili peppers, said to be effective for improving blood flow and stimulating the burning of fat. Because it is a fierce skin and eye irritant, it is also an ingredient in some forms of pepper spray for personal defense. I pause to take a deep breath before continuing. And, rapidly breaks down the triglycerides responsible for causing obesity. Obesity, though the term is frequently used in recent years to simply refer to sort of being overweight. Obesity in the clinical sense is a medical condition involving interrelated health issues, including excess body fat, hyperlipidemia, and hyperglycemia. Individuals suffering from obesity are at high risk of complications such as coronary heart disease, diabetes, and sleep apnea. Again, the crowd hummed with excitement. This response is better than I could have hoped. We're off to a terrific start. And now this young lady here will demonstrate Burning Hammer's effects before your very eyes. Chiri steps into the spotlight. Just wait till you see how much she sweats. Proof that the fat is being burned right out there on the spot. Chiri holds a bottle of Burning Hammer up high. Cheers, she says. As she opens the bottle, however, one of the women in the front row speaks up. Hold on. She's already sweating pretty hard. She's right. Chiri's drenched in sweat from head to toe. Another woman chimes in, suspicious. A lot of that juice drinking from earlier that was all to make her sweat like that, weren't it? All of a sudden, the crowd is in an uproar. No, not at all. Drinking Burning Hammer makes you sweat way more than this. I rush to towel off Chiri's sweat for her. Go on, hurry up. Drink it down. Chiri's face screws up unpleasantly as she gulps down the bottle. And the sweat doesn't come. God, why isn't it working? I exclaim, the audience momentarily forgotten. Guess I've already sweated out too much, Chiri replies unfazed. Well, why were you sweating so much? Look, you were taking forever at the 100 yen shop. The crowd shifts from uproar into riot. Did she just say 100 yen shop? Scowling customers begin to close in. No, that's not it. You've got it all wrong. Please just listen. Oh, we can see what's going on here. The situation has gotten out of our control. Look, this product is so valuable that a 100 yen shop is about the only way we could get it. Uh-oh. I think I just put my foot in it. The customers glare at me, their eyes bright with rage. Hunk of lamb chop. Haha, kidding, that was just a joke. Please let me apologize. Hunk of lamb chop. Sure. Hunk of lamb chop. It's a clumsy attempt to force it off, but it's my only option. She said hunk of lamb chop, I repeat. Meaning that running hamburger is just so incredibly filling. Having just one tiny bottle will feel like you've eaten a big, meaty meal. Yeah, that's what she meant. Uh-huh, sneers one customer. Sure. They really sell this at 100 yen shops? Rats. We didn't manage to distract them. 100 yen shop? Well, what's that? Answer me! Did they really see these at 100? Look, I cry. It's the chupacabra. I thrust my arm out to point, and then accidentally catch one of the attendees in the head with my fuzzy fist. Then the woman lets out a muted groan and slinks to the ground unconscious. The rest of the crowd stares at me, stunned. Oops, I murmur. Tama! Shouts Mr. Yanagishita, rushing out of the break room. What the heck are you doing? Abort! Abort! He howls. If you let these people know the truth about this stuff, they'll never buy it. Uh-oh. Now you've done it. Sherry doesn't hesitate to point the finger at him or stare ferocious. Oh, whoops! Realizing what he just blurted out, Mr. Yanagishita is aghast. Now there really is no saving this. Customers descend upon Mr. Yanagishita, their wrath a terror to behold. So then it is true! What the hell are you trying to pull? I can't believe you tried to sell this crap for these prices. Aye! The throng goes on the attack. Cheer and I force our way through the angry mob, hoping to find some way to calm these people down. Cursing and profanity fill the air. The shouts are accompanied by merciless open-handed slaps. I get all jostled and tumbled about, and my mascot costume takes a bad beating. Finally, the storm passes. This is building up to a bad end, I'm assuming, and it's pretty long. It's over. It's all over. Mr. Yanagishita wails to the empty room. So, boss, about getting paid. Even Cherry seems hesitant to ask. Yeah, that's not going to happen, obviously. Yanagishita doesn't so much as look up. His shoulders slump down further in defeat. I'll take payment in kind then, Cherry says. Mind if I take this burning hammer home with me? Sure. Yanagishita says silently. Go right ahead. Alright, I'll be off then. Later, Tama. Cherry picks up the cardboard boxes and heads out. Sir? It's the man from the rental place. I believe you still owe me for the costume rentals? Alright, how much was it again? Mr. Yanagishita rummages in his pockets. Given the severe damage, I'm afraid I'm going to have to add the full cost of the cat suit to your bill. Your total comes to 200,000 yen. Was that? 200 yen? No, sir, 200,000. Huh? Sorry, I can't hear at all. I think I might have ruptured my eardrum. 200,000 yen, sir. Okay. Yanagishita takes all the cash he has in his wallet and holds it out reluctantly. That's only 20,000, sir. The rental guy furrows his brow. I'm afraid this won't cover it. I understand that, but I don't got no more than this. Don't got no more? Sir, please, you're not a child. Then give me a discount. Make it 20,000. Instead of the 200 you owe? You know I can't do that, sir. But Mr. Yanagishita refuses to back down. Ah, that's right. Insurance. I got insurance in the event that suit wound up damaged. No, you didn't. No, I did. You did not, sir. No, I did! Then where's your paperwork to prove it? Yanagishita calmly claps a hand to his chest. Right here. The paperwork is here, inside my heart. The rental guy clutches the sides of his head in his exasperation. And believe me, I feel his pain. You know what? Never mind. I'm going to leave this to my boss. Shiga Michi Fukuma, president and owner of Far East Costume Rentals, notable for the fact that he's usually wearing his favorite rabbit costume. To Shiga Michi, his costumes are like his children. If he were to hear that one of his suits had been ruined, he'd probably never forgive Yanagishita, adding to the man's already considerable list of enemies. Putting his back on the ruins of the sales demo, he slumps his way out of the room. Is this an actual, continuation of the story? Now it's just me and Mr. Yanagishita. Please try not to let it get you down so much, sir, I say as cheerfully as I can muster. He's already down on the floor, a sobbing mess. You wouldn't know what it's like to feel so utterly hopeless. I think I might have an idea, sir. In fact, I'm sure of it. At this point, there's nothing more I can possibly do. He slumps forward, trembling like a willow tree. I think we'll turn around soon enough, I'm sure. You don't know me like I know me, he says. There's not gonna be any turnaround, not after this. Okay, now, this little pity party is starting to piss me off. You know, if you think you're the only person that had a run of bad luck, you're dead wrong. I wound up shouting the words louder than I intended. Mr. Yanagishita whips his head back up. Yikes, where'd that come from? I need to tell you something. My pent-up emotions come surging to the surface. I have amnesia. Yanagishita's eyes go wide. What? I can't remember anything from before this morning. So this is a continuation of the story. Can't remember anything. In short, amnesia. Amnesia can have a variety of causes. Psychogenic amnesia is caused by stress or psychological trauma, whereas in indigenous amnesia, a powerful blow to the head causes physical trauma to the brain. In the latter case, memories and normal other functions frequently return once the cranial nerves recover. My name, how old I am, where I live, any of it. I would much rather be in your shoes, sir. Mr. Yanagishita looks at me with a hint of disbelief. So where'd you get the name Tama, then? I thought of it when I saw the Tama Goyaki in those lunchboxes. Aha! Tama Goyaki. Tama. I get it. He claps himself on the thighs as if he's had some big eureka moment. But wait, how come you lost your memories? Well, I don't know for certain. Obviously, I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure I took a hard blow to the head. When I came to, I was inside of a storehouse with a massive headache. A storehouse? A surge of vertigo washes through me as I recall waking up in that strange, dim place. That's the electronics shop, isn't it? That Achi's dad owns? Yeah, I just gotten out of there when you flagged me down, sir. Huh, really? So what is pretty unnerving then, not knowing who you are? He sounds like he's taking me seriously now. Yeah, it sure is, but it's not going to do me any good to just fret over it. And besides, I've got a clue. What sort of clue? There's a necklace I saw at a knick-knack shop, the same place I found the burning hammer. Somehow I know that it's important to me. And so you took this job so you could afford to buy it? I nod. Of course, now that the job has ended in a total bust, I've lost my shot at getting it. Okay then. Mr. Yanagishita removes his shoe and yanks out the insole. This here really is the last of my money. He pulls out 20,000 yen, adds it to the other 20,000 from his wallet, and thrusts it all toward me. Here you go, he says. That includes the reimbursement for the burning hammer you picked up. I pluck up 2 of the 10,000 yen bills between my fingertips. I actually didn't have to pay for it. So the 20,000 we agreed upon is fine. But how about you, sir? Are you going to be okay? After all this? Compared to your misfortunes, mine are nothing. They might send me up the creek without a paddle, but I'll bounce back somehow, I'm sure of it. And then, clutching his fist, Mr. Yanagishita gets a far-off look in his eye. And then, one more time, I'm going to go see a bride fight. My jaw nearly drops. Bride? Like the martial arts pub? Wait, you know about Bride? Man, I've spent so much money at that place. Oh, it is a small world. Especially that Miku. I wonder how much she has made me spend. Miku, huh? I'm pretty sure I just accidentally forced her into retirement, but I decided to keep quiet on that front. He nods. To be honest, the reason I borrowed all that money was to pay my tabs at that place. And I had to borrow from some pretty shady sources, too. I couldn't help but suspect this poor guy got a really raw deal. Why don't you take that mascot costume with you? Huh? I mean, I don't really need it. No, I insist. Take it with my blessing. Sure. I'll be on my way then. So this wasn't a bad end. That's so weird. Out in the hallway, I'd passed by the man I'd noticed earlier, the one I didn't recognize. It's Minorikawa! Odd. The sales demo's over. I wonder why he's still here. I give him a faint nod, and he nods back before slipping into the demo room. I should keep my fingers crossed for the guy. At last, I'm back outside the building. I feel bad about not returning the catsuit to the man from the rental place. Still, I can't just walk around town wearing this thing. I'll stick out like a sore thumb. I figure it's best to leave it behind. And then it dawns on me. Hold on. I still can't get this thing off! It's not worth the struggle. Guess this cat's staying in the bag, or it's time I skin this cat. I need to get rid of this costume, whatever it takes. I feel like that's a bad option, so we're gonna try to just go. Guess this cat's staying in the bag. A popular folk etymology asserts that the expression, let the cat out of the bag, comes from the unscrupulous practice of certain farmers who would sell a pig at market only to deceive the buyer by surreptitiously swapping out the purchased porker for a cat. The likelihood of anyone mistaking a cat, even when inside a bag, for a pig is, however, extremely low, let alone the likelihood that enough people would fall for such a scheme to warrant a phrase referring to it to enter the language. I figure I head to the knick-knack shop as is. Alright, we have hit a keep out, so let's see. I think here is where we go to Achi. Yeah, jump to Achiendo. We'll hop on over to him. A couple, and Achi! Here we go. Hey, we broke the keep out. As luck would have it, they soon found a crowd in their path, backs turned toward them. Excited voices rose up from the throng. Well, what's the deal? Is something going on? It's a street fight! A street fight, as the name implies, to take place out in the street, typically using bare hands and no weapons. Even a barehanded fight can result in serious injuries, though, which is why they're pretty illegal. Achi clutched Hitomi's hand tight. Whatever you do, don't let go. Without a moment's hesitation, he plowed his way through the crowd. Emerging on the far side of the gathering, Achi saw the main road ahead. Cars were zipping past in a steady stream. What do we do? There were too many cars for them to rush across the street without getting hit. They couldn't exactly just sit and wait for the light to change, and they certainly couldn't go back the way they came. Their pursuers were getting closer and closer. Hitomi! Achi shouted. Let's go across. We're going across. That's right, because we gotta start a traffic jam. What? Taking Hitomi by the hand, Achi darted out the street. Moving purely by instinct, he wove his way through the caps and speeding cars. When they were halfway across, the car slammed on its brakes to keep hitting them, causing several cars behind it to crash into them. The multi-vehicle pileup plunged the roadway into total chaos. As a result of this chaos, traffic in the nearby area moved at a standstill for a while. On their way to the Syndicate hideout, Shinya Kanyo and Jack's family have gotten this traffic stop. So, that's good. In a matter of moments, the street was clogged with a long line of stopped vehicles. Achi and Hitomi's pursuers remained on the other side and did not pursue. Okay, that was crazy. Hitomi panted as she caught her breath. Well, you know what they say. Idle feet are the devil's playthings. Hands, it's idle hands. Whatever, at least they got in the way. Come on, let's go. Achi led the way down just several twisting side streets before slowing his pace. By now Hitomi was slumped and panting heavily. He wanted to give her some time to rest, but if they just hung around, their pursuers might still find them. He looked around and spotted a multi-tenant building. The nearest door was open. Bundles of flyers were set out near the entrance. Flyers for Au Revoir, this 22nd performance by the theater troupe The Wandering Angels. It tells the tale of a man named Ryu looking back on his 100-year life as a warrior. The performance features wire action as its major set piece, while Ryo and his rival Shido flying high through the air, doing battles with the magical Muramasa blade and beam saber, respectively. Achi peeked inside and saw piles of plywood and painted lumber. It looked like this was a storeroom for a theater stage props and scenery. "We can hide out in here," he said. But... Hitomi hesitated, but Achi gave her hand a little tug. "It'll be fine, there's nobody around." They stepped inside the storeroom, and Achi quickly shut the door behind them. "We should probably rest for a bit," he said. There was a wooden platform set up beside a large piece of plywood. Hachi picked up a magazine that had fallen on the floor and spread it out on top of the platform's dusty surface. "Here, now you can sit without getting your clothes dirty." "Thank you." Hitomi quietly took a seat. "We should probably turn off our cell phones," Hachi said. "It could be really bad if they rang at the wrong moment." The two powered off their phones. Hachi took a cursory look around. It didn't look like there was any way in or out, besides the door they'd come in through. There was a single window set in the wall, but it wouldn't open far enough to let them through. "Ah!" Hitomi let out a quiet gasp. Someone was outside the storeroom. Hachi put a finger to his lips, and Hitomi gave a fearful nod. The window's frosted glass blocked any real view in or out. So long as they stayed quiet, they ought to be safe. Whoever was outside pressed their face to the frosted glass, trying to get a glimpse inside. The blurry image of the foreigner who attacked them was dimly visible. Like the man with the cane before him, this guy was quick to catch up. The man pounded on the glass. Hachi swallowed the lump in his throat. If this guy got in, they had nowhere to run. Hachi turned to Hitomi. "We'll be fine, just sit tight. Or, let's hurry out through the door. We'll do what we'll sit. We'll be fine, just sit tight." Hitomi clenched onto Hachi's arm. Clenched hard. "Can I help you with something?" said a casual voice from outside. They saw their pursuer react at once, pulling back from the window. "That's just our storeroom, you know," the voice added. Hachi heard footsteps scampering away. The kidnapper had run off. Hachi exchanged glances with Hitomi and let out a tiny sigh. There were more voices coming from outside now. What was up with that guy? "I don't know. Yeah, whatever. Let's just hurry and get stuff tidied up." "Ugh, man, my throat's raw." It sounded like a conversation between two men. The storeroom door opened and the men clomped their way inside. Tomonari Takaya and Taro Toga, two members of the theater troupe The Wandering Angels. Takaya is the Wandering Angels star actor, playing the lead role of Ryu in today's performance of Our Var, troupe's 22nd piece. Last night, he slept completely naked and caught a cold, leading to the sore throat he has now. Toga is the stage director, handling things behind the scenes. He's very irritated that Shinichi Bando, in charge of the props, seems to have gone AWOL. "So what are we getting?" Let's grab all those folding chairs over there." The producer said we're going to need a lot more seats all of a sudden. Mr. Ori said that? Going all out for the troupe's last hurrah, huh? Beats me, man. In no real hurry, the men went about carting the folding chairs away. They didn't notice Hachi and Hitomi sitting silently in the shadows. Well, not to change the subject, but how come we're using a dry ice machine and not a smoke machine? That's the malfunctioning dry ice machine. Maybe that's why my throat's bothering me. Yeah, it's pretty weird. Nobody's even operating it. It's still drawing a ton of power. Think it's defective? Hachi and Hitomi waited for the two men to finish up. If they were spotted, it would probably cause a scene, and worse still, it might alert the men who were hunting them. Once they'd carried off the rest of the folding chairs, the men closed the storeroom door. The foreigner could still be somewhere nearby, though, so Hachi decided that they should hide out in the room a little longer. Yeah, this blows. I want to get back out there to look for that blue van ASAP, but Hachi trailed off as something occurred to him. Oh, we're not going to get blue text on what ASAP means? Wait a second. Now that's weird. Tomi looked at him inquiringly. The kidnappers already have the ransom money, yeah? Hachi said. That's right. And then they told you that your sister was in some blue minivan. Isn't that kind of weird? What do you mean? Did you figure that your sister was in the minivan by herself? Well, yes. If one of the kidnappers were with her, they wouldn't need to send me to go get her. Right, Hachi said. Yeah, the fact was that as soon as the kidnappers had their money, they could have let Tomi's sister out of the vehicle and just run off. There was no point in sending Hitomi to fetch her personally. A look of revelation dawned on Hitomi's face. Oh. That minivan had already left Ogenzaka, she said. I came back here while we were waiting for it, when she finished. He thought back to his earlier run-in with the blue vehicle. So that inside that minivan, there had been a bunch of foreigners inside, which meant the kidnappers didn't have the intention of giving her sister back. The more Archie thought about it, the less sense it made for them to send Hitomi to get her. There had to be some other reason they wanted Hitomi to go to the minivan, but what? Do you think they were trying to kidnap me too? That's it. Archie clapped his hands together. Then they'd let your sister go and demand a ransom for you. And then they'd make her deliver the ransom money for your release. They'd be able to get like infinite ransom money by constantly abducting one twin after the other. That seems a little far-fetched. Oh, yeah, I guess you're right. Now that she said so, Archie realized it was kind of a ridiculous idea. Still, what if the kidnappers really were trying to kidnap me? Hitomi said. As in, like, they accidentally abducted the wrong twin. I mean, I guess that would have been easy to botch up. That would imply that they wanted me specifically and not my sister. Hitomi paused briefly and thought. So, I have two theories about who Tama is. One of them is that it is Maria. The other is that it's the singer that Osawa is obsessed with. Because she wouldn't... I mean, a lot of random stuff gets brought up in this game, but I get the feeling that they brought up this character specifically to for a reason. But we'll see. Maybe you're hotter than your sister or something. Archie suggested with enthusiasm. Hitomi shook her head. That can't be it. If anything, it's the other way around. Compared to my sister, I'm just... Whoa, hey, stop right there. Archie had to interrupt her. You're not just anything. Please don't. I'm just... Tears welled up in Hitomi's eyes. Why'd this have to happen to her? Why not me? Whoa, hey, come on, don't cry. I'm sorry. Cheer up. It's like that song says. Don't just stand there. Wipe those tears away. That one. You know it? Is that Ayakamiki? Ayakamiki, that's it. Yeah, that's... I think Tama is either Maria or Ayakamiki. Yeah, that's the one. Put your hand in mine. Every single bee's a light. Huh? You know, every single bee's a light. Hitomi let out a giggle. Everything will be alright. You've got the lyrics wrong. It's everything will be alright. Right. Yeah, I guess that makes more sense, I guess. Archie's mouth curled into a sheepish smile. Alright, I think we've laid low long enough, Archie said at last. I think we should be on our way. He was about to get to his feet when he heard voices outside the storeroom again. Yikes, that was pretty careless of us. Yeah, we definitely gotta watch it. The theater guys from earlier had returned, and they sounded a bit panicked. Tomonari, Takia, and Tarutoga, two members of the theater group The Wandering Angels. Takia is the Wandering Angels star actor, but lately, in addition to appearing on their stage, he's been taking on TV drama and film works as well. The next role he's slated for is in Sun TV's upcoming suspense drama, Sumo Queen 2, where he will play the referee who utters the lame line, "Looks like things are getting heavy," upon discovering a victim's dying message inscribed in one corner of the sumo ring. Heard folks have been messing with the storeroom a bunch recently. Yeah, and did you hear who's behind it? Some juvenile delinquents. Like a gang? Well, that takes me way back. Alright, let's hurry on back. Archie rushed over to the door. He tried turning the knob, but the door wouldn't budge. Oh, come on, are you freaking kidding me? He paced frantically around the room, pulling at his hair. We're locked in! And that door was the only way in or out. Archie and Hitomi were well and truly trapped inside the storeroom. He could break the window. This is all my fault, Archie said. It was my idea to hide out here in the first place. He bowed to Hitomi repeatedly. We're never going to be able to find that blue minivan now. Guess we'll have to get someone on the outside to help us, Hitomi replied. She has a cell phone. She's got, Tanaka? Yeah, Tanaka's number. They powered their phones back on in order to call for help. The big question was, who could they possibly ask? Hitomi, anyone you can reach out to? Mr. Tanaka, I suppose? Tanaka, right. This just didn't exactly thrill Archie. He had no idea what this Tanaka guy was like. Hopefully, he was the dependable sort who'd actually show up and rescue him. But somehow that thought made Archie feel even worse. Archie had someone he figured he could call, but he hesitated, uncertain. There had been a time when he trusted this guy more than anyone. They had bailed each other out of countless jams. Nowadays, though, things were different. Hitomi gave Archie a puzzled look as he sat lost in thought. Right. Guess I don't have much of a choice. Archie scrolled through the context list on his cell phone. He found a name he thought he'd never call again. Susumu. Yo, Archie? Is that you? Susumu's voice was low and guarded. Look, I've got a favor to ask you. I'm in a real bind here. Huh? Like, things are ridiculously bad. I thought maybe you could help me out a little bit. You seriously thought I'd help you? Susumu's words were like ice. You messing with me or something, man? Now he sounded a touch angry as well. Painful memories flashed before Archie's eyes. Right then. Sorry to bug you. Just forget it. But Susumu hung up before Archie was even finished talking. No dice, Archie said to Hitomi with a lopsided frown. She looked back at him, her expression a mirror of her own. Ray-san, what should we do? What should we do? I guess we're back to Mr. Tanaka. Guess so. You wanna go ahead then? Hitomi tried calling him repeatedly, but Tanaka didn't pick up. What could have happened? She muttered under her breath. Do you think maybe the kidnappers found out that Mr. Tanaka and I have been in contact? Archie shrugged. Looks like they were just getting to need to find some way out of here on their own, and then maybe look for the minivan themselves. Archie strode over to the door and grabbed hold of the knob. He tried giving it a good sturdy pull. No good. The thing won't even budge. The door opens outward. Wait, really? Archie started giving it a push. It still didn't open. He kicked it. Oh no! Ho! The door wasn't nearly as sturdy as Archie had expected. I think I can make this work. He backed up to get a running start and kicked the door with all his might. Hi-ya! The door went flying off its hinges. Aw man, that was way too easy. Archie stepped cautiously out of the storeroom. He quickly scanned the surrounding area. There was nobody in sight. Looks like we're in the clear, he called. But Hitomi didn't come out, nor did she reply. Hitomi! She had her phone in hand, apparently still trying to get in touch with Tanaka. With a tiny sigh, Archie leaned against the wall and waited for her to finish. Well, doesn't look like I'm going to have any luck, she said. You know we can leave now, right? Are you still holding out hope for you, Mr. Tanaka? It's not that, I'm just a little worried. Oh yeah? Okie dokie then, I'll just wait around here. Okay, I'll be right with you. Uh-huh. Archie shuffled his way back outside. Oh, crap. By the time Archie could finish processing the thought, he was already laid out on the ground. His jaw hit the asphalt, hard. He bit the tip of his tongue clean off. Ew. A taste of blood filled his mouth. It's the guy with the cane. A moment later, he took a sharp blow to the head. He was done for. All the energy drained from his body. His mind whirled. His vision grew hazy. He began to drift from consciousness. Back when he'd run with Susumu and the others, he'd never left himself exposed to a surprise attack. There were plenty of times he'd taken a punch that sent him reeling, and then he'd spin away and come back swinging. This time he hadn't even seen it coming. It was his last mistake. Heh, guess I'll let myself go soft. Archie grimaced inwardly, muttering in a voice no one but he could hear. You told me. I'm so sorry. Bad end. Attacked by the man with the cane. Archie successfully managed to break out of the storeroom, and he'd been knocked out by the man with the cane. He waited for Hitomi. Things might have gone differently if Hitomi had managed to get in contact with Tanaka. Why hadn't he responded to her calls? Maybe something strange had happened at the Osawa residence, or perhaps there was some reason he wasn't able to answer the phone. So, we have to do Osawa's story then, obviously. Because I don't think there's a connection to Osawa's story, right? Jump. There's a jump here. Oh, that's Takano, right. Okay. But, in this case, we need to jump to... Wait. Bug tracker changed? We need to jump to Minoru. Right? Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. From, that's the street fight. No, Nakane. That's right. An unfamiliar man. Where's the jump bump? Or the jump straight out? Alright, so we do this. You're late. Project goes in. Alright, here we go. And we're gonna jump to... Wait, we can't? Weird. Did something we do change the story? Let's go back to the time chart. Movie doesn't start. So something I did must have changed a storyline? Say, I'm just gonna go home maybe this time? I'm just gonna go home. He kept his tone clipped and cool. Hey now, no need for that, sir. Just settle down. Who doesn't like a silly little magic show now and then? You've got 2 minutes. Oh, so it's the same thing, just there's no dialogue changes really. So, we all saw this already. We're gonna get through this. So, yeah, this hour has probably been even more action-packed than the first 2 or 3. Okay, now we have to keep up. So now we can go back and do the jump. That's the wrong... Nope, that's the one. This, there we go, is the right one. So we're going to make that jump. And before we do that, though, I need to know... I'm back. So let's pop over to the next segment. Yep. And jump over to Minorikawa. Ah, oops. Sorry to keep you waiting, a girlish voice exclaimed. A moment later, a furry figure came charging into the demo room. The crowd fell silent at the sight of a young woman in a cat costume. The cat girl panted visibly. Her arms were loaded with cardboard boxes. You're late, the event organizer snapped. What the heck have you been doing? Grabbing the newcomer by one paw, he vanished with her into the back room. The chubby-cheeked girl wrapped up her magic routine and hurried after them. The audience stared at the now empty stage in confusion. Several minutes passed when the organizer reappeared. Ladies, terribly sorry to have kept you waiting, he called out, but now I'm proud to introduce you to the worldwide sensation that is Burning Hammer. In a signal, the young woman and the cat appeared on the stage. Allow us to explain just how this revolutionary new diet drink works. It's magic! The young woman exclaimed cheerily. The cat nodded and threw out her arms. For the first time in human history, you can drink a single bottle and lose a whole kilogram. Just drink and burn that excess fat away. Wait away. With that, the sales demo was underway. I got 25 minutes behind schedule. 5 minutes into the presentation, things began to go awry. An angry clamor. What tag are you trying to pull? I can't believe you'd actually try to sell something like this. The outrage had been triggered by something the young woman of the sage had said. She'd inadvertently let slip the burning hammer was the sort of thing you could buy at a 100 yen shop. The would-be customers were furious to learn that they were running the place for suckers. Most of them had immediately tried to storm out of the room. Now the organizer, the full-figured young woman, and the girl in the cat costume were at the door doing their best to pull back the time. This has gotten pretty interesting, really. Norikawa pulled out his digital camera and started firing off snapshots of the angry crowd. Some modern digital cameras come with a remarkable ability to automatically trigger the shutter when the subject smiles. This function also works if the camera is presented with a TV or photo image of people smiling. There are even cases of cameras recognizing faces in the wood grain of ceilings. After all, if we can make out faces in the wood when we're gazing lazily up the ceiling, we can't fault the camera for doing the same. See, this is, I think, a reference to, well, this is like 2009, pre-digital camera, pre-smartphone being widely accepted, and I imagine they weren't in Japan yet. Unfortunately, their frenzy was so intense that he was soon caught up with the floor and pushed out of the room. Fine, I guess I'll just need to do some interviews instead of getting pictures. Excuse me, he asked one woman. Would you mind if I asked you some... Shut your mouth! Would you mind telling me a little bit about... Don't you talk to me! Could I get a word on unbelievable? Just unbelievable. The woman was so enraged that Norikawa couldn't get any of them to give him the time of day. Before long, the entire crowd had surged out of the room and departed. Oh well, guess I've got enough to do a write-up at least. It will be nice to get a quote from somebody. He decided to try for an interview with the man who'd organized this whole fiasco. How did the guy feel, for instance, about his product scam falling through? Good question. Heading back into the event room, Minoru passed by the cat mask, so that would unlock Tama's story. Yeah. The cat gave him a tiny nod and walked off without a word. He couldn't see the face of the girl inside the costume, but she seemed genuinely dejected that Burning Hammer had been a bust. Hey, I'm Minoru Minorikawa, freelance reporter. I was wondering if I could have 5 minutes of your time. The organizer sat alone in the midst of his ruined displays. Oh, it's you. The man's voice had lost all of its earlier punch. Here, my credentials. Minorikawa handed him a business card. The man introduced himself as Yanagishida, and Minorikawa got right down to business. So your sales demo is over, Mr. Yanagishida. How do you feel right now? How do I feel? Well, tomorrow is another day, I guess. Minorikawa was impressed by the guy's candor. I'm a little surprised to hear that, he said. I figured you'd be more disappointed. Oh, I'm plenty disappointed. I took a big gamble here to repay my debts, and I lost. Yanagishida didn't seem to be trying to hide anything. Debts? Minorikawa asked. There was a girl I was in love with. What? This is new, Yanagishida said. I wound up spending everything on her. Oh, it's Miku. It's Miku from the MMA ring. Yeah. He stared wistfully into the distance. Ah, interesting, Minorikawa said. You wouldn't be the first man to go to such lengths for a woman. Yeah, Yanagishida said. I suppose not. A rueful smile crossed his lips. The guy didn't strike Minorikawa as some dyed-in-the-wool scam artist. But I decided that it was time to stop feeling sorry for myself, Yanagishida went on. There are plenty of people in the world who have it way worse off, you know? You got that right, Minorikawa nodded in agreement. So I just figure, well, as long as I'm still alive, maybe another opportunity will come my way. A more earnest smile broke through Yanagishida's forlorn expression. Minorikawa wished Toyama could have been there to hear this fellow. I have a friend who's in an incredible amount of debt myself, Minorikawa said. As a matter of fact, they owe the same people. He runs a publishing company, but there was a big mix-up with the scratch cards in his magazine. And scratch cards? It's not important, Minorikawa said hurriedly. letting more people know about the whole scratch card fiasco wouldn't certainly do Toyama any favors. Anyhow, dead is a terrible thing. Minorukawa nodded sagely. Oh, by the way, this is unrelated, but are you familiar with a group called SOS? Apparently there's some legendary street gang here in Shibuya. SOS? Yanagashita shook his head. No, never heard of them. Guess I'm not going to get any leads on that here. Minorukawa wondered if there was anything else worth asking this guy. Yeah, let's do the Shibuya Now survey. Maybe Yanagashita would be willing to take a Shibuya Now survey. Taking a little bit of the burden off Fuchiki seemed like a good idea. I have another question. How do you feel about your life right now? Huh? How do you feel about your life? Your products aren't selling, you can't repay your debts, and yet you still refuse to give up, believing opportunity will come your way. How do you feel about all that? Yanagashita paused in thought. I'd say I'm a pretty lucky guy. Minorukawa was taken somewhat aback by that response. I haven't been able to sell any burning hammer, and sure, I can't pay off my debts, but even so... Yanagashita looked Minorukawa right in the eye. The two cute young girls I've got working for me have stuck with me through thick and thin. Sometimes people just need to be content with something like that, you know? It was refreshingly forthright, and Minorukawa was surprised. And I mean, so what if I've got debts? Yanagashita went on. In the long run, none of that matters, not really. There was a knock at the door. Oh, excuse me a moment, Yanagashita said. I wonder who that could be. He opened the door and his face froze. Damn, wasn't quick enough. Mr. Minorukawa? Yes? You'll have to pardon me. I've had a little something crop up here, so if you don't mind... Oh, sure, not a problem. I've got other interviews I need to get to. Anyway, I'll just... But Yanagashita was out the door before Minorukawa could even finish. Wonder where he's going. Stepping out into the hallway, Minorukawa could faintly hear voices from the adjoining demo room. Oh no, it's the Yakuza. It sounded like Mr. Yanagashita and two other men. Minorukawa wouldn't make out any words, but he could tell they were arguing about something. It's probably some consumer complaint against one of his products, or an issue with the client company. Something along those lines. Man, people who run companies sure have it rough. You hang in there, Mr. Yanagashita. Uh-oh. Oh, perfect timing. Minorukawa stopped short as a familiar voice called out to him. It was the man he'd spoken to earlier that afternoon about the surveillance cameras. What? Why aren't you running your shop? Hey, come here a sec. The man waved him over. What is it? I'm really busy right now. I've got a scoop for you. Saw it with my own eyes. Minorukawa raised an eyebrow. Give me the details. Okay, so a little while ago, I saw some foreign guy in handcuffs arguing with someone who looked like a detective. A foreigner in handcuffs? Had there been some kind of international sting or something? Whatever the case, it wasn't such a rare thing to see. Where was this? Just over there, behind the police station. Minorukawa furrowed his brow. A suspect arguing with a cop outside a police station wasn't all that weird. Still, he had a feeling he was missing something here. Well, the big thing is what happened afterward, the man said. Afterward? The man leaned in conspiratorially. The detective undid the guy's handcuffs and let him run off. Well, what? I'm telling you, man. It had to have been like a bribe or something. A bribe? That seemed unlikely. I swear that's what it had to be. There was some wheel greasing going on. Oh, we're not going to get blue text for wheel greasing either. You're not making this all up, are you? Minorukawa asked. He regarded the man coldly, but the guy still seemed quite legitimately worked up. It's all true. Please, you have to report this to the police right away. What do I have to? Minorukawa asked. If you have a tip for the police, go give it to yourself. He didn't quite manage to stop himself from saying that out loud. No, I can't. I'm no good when it comes to police. Besides, they're never going to believe someone like me. Why? Okay, so maybe he had a point there. But you're some world-class reporter, right? The cops will totally take your word over that of a random nobody. Minorukawa didn't have the time to debate the point. It was just easier just to make the call. He phoned up the police to leave the tip. The man bowed repeatedly, looking pretty grateful. Oh, thank you so much. I haven't been able to get any business done with these scary thugs around. What thugs? What line of business are you in anyway? What? The man suddenly went pale. Whoops! I gotta get going! He skittered off in an alarm. Ooh, what's that guy's deal? I thought he ran the 100 yen shop. Minorukawa was left to wonder what this guy's line of work actually was. But he had more important things to worry about at the moment. He hurried off in the other direction. Before long, he arrived back at Café Lautrec. The clock on the wall showed that it was close to 2 o'clock. He had to somehow fill 6 more pages before the loan company came to Heaven Publishing to collect. He booted up his laptop. "What's with this coffee shop?" said a low, stern voice. "You've got no good magazines here." Minoru looked up. An older man was complaining to one of the waitresses. He was the same guy who'd been yelling at his daughter earlier. Evidently, he'd been here at the cafe this whole time. "Haven't you got any magazines for me to read?" The man's face was a mask of irritation. Minoru glanced at the magazine in a rack. They were mostly geared toward a younger reader. The waitress sifted through the stacks and pulled something from the back. "Perhaps this would be to your liking, sir," she said. She held out an issue of 4-Star General Gossip. "Don't be ridiculous," the man spat dismissively. "This is vulgar, low-grade filth. I wouldn't even use the paper it's printed on for compost." That was a harsh way to put it, but Minoru couldn't fault him for speaking the truth. The man continued grumbling as he went back to his seat. Minoru headed over to the magazine rack himself and picked up the Gossip. He opened the front cover and found the scratch card still inserted within. If those things were still out there, it was bad news. Toyama might end up even further in debt. Minoru yanked the scratch card out and tore it to bits. "Sir, what are you doing?" The waitress rushed to stop him, only for the pieces to rain down on her like confetti. "The magazine itself is still perfectly readable," Minoru said. "There's no problem here." He strode back to his seat and gazed at his laptop screen. He still hadn't finished booting up. In the meantime, he decided to give Chiaki a call. She picked up right away. "Hello?" Minoru asked. "Hi there. Good to hear from you," Chiaki replied. "How's progress?" "I did it," Chiaki said, her voice overcome with emotion. "I managed to get people to hear me out." "Of course you did. You got your pointers from me." "Yes, I couldn't have done it without you, Mr. Mino." Her mood had done a complete 180. Minoru allowed himself a little sigh of relief. "Okay then," he said. "Head back to the editing department and put together an article for me." "You got it, sir," Chiaki chirped in reply. "I'll email you as soon as I'm done with things on my end," Minoru told her. "Just use the DTP to slot your piece into the right-hand spot in the lineup." DTP, abbreviation for desktop publishing, refers to the process of editing a manuscript's layout in a computer preparatory to sending it to the printer. Also used to refer to the software used for creating such layouts. Creating layout data that is ready for printing but has not actually been printed yet is also sometimes called DTP. I bet they use Adobe InDesign. "Sure thing." Minoru hung up, then rolled up his sleeves. He sure was towing a pretty narrow line today. The Burning Hammer event had kept him a little longer than anticipated. Now he needed to clean up his copy as soon as possible in order to stick to his schedule. When he turned back to put his laptop there, he froze with shock. What? His laptop monitor was still a black, empty screen. There's no way it would take this long to finish booting up. Oh, it couldn't be. No, don't let it be true. Had his computer decided to pick now of all time to give up the ghost? Minoru felt the blood drain from his face. They sell computers, right, at the 100 yen shop? Wait, is this a bad end? Oh no, it's a to be continued. Man, things just keep going worse for him. That's terrible. Alright. So we fixed Kano's thing with creating the traffic jam. The bug tracker got changed somehow. Now, let's see. But this is going to jump us to... No, we already did him. So we need to go to... No, wait. We need to go to... Did he have a jump? Maybe not. Maybe I was wrong. Because that jump is to Minoru. That jump... Oh, wait. We can jump to Tama's story. Let's jump to Tama's story. So we'll jump to Tama's story. We can catch up on Osawa later. Cat mascot, jump to Tama, please. In the hallway. Oh yeah. So this just breaks the yeah, breaks the keep out. We already read this. It's not worth the struggle. Yeah, we'll do that. Do the knick-knack shop. And then here is... Wait, keep out. Again? That's bizarre. Because that's what breaks the keep out, right? This is weird. Why didn't that do the breaking the keep out? Alright, hang on. We'll do it again. Cat mascot. Jump. Oh, does this not break it? It doesn't break it. Weird. Okay, so someone else needs to break that keep out, I guess. So we finished this, so I guess we gotta go back to Kano's story. Huh. Alright, back to Kano's story. The car moved at a glacial pace toward the crime syndicate's hangout. Stanley pounded his fist on the steering wheel in frustration. They had no sooner set out than the traffic slowed to a near standstill. Hey, that saved your life, buddy. Despite the occasional lurch, it never crept above a crawl. Kano stewed in the passenger seat. The case was rapidly getting out of hand. Now he had to worry about the safety of both Maria and her sister Hitomi. Never mind the fact that Detective Tatano had also gone missing. Is Detective Tatano a bad guy? There were too many unknowns. Too many uncertainties. His unease was growing unbearable. Also, Tatano hasn't radioed in, and, we can't reach him from our end either. Kuze's words kept echoing inside Kano's head. What could have caused Tatano to drop out of contact? Someone had gone after Hitomi while Kano and the others were busy trailing the attaché case. Could Tatano have been... Wait, is that Tatano? The guy with the... cane? No, it couldn't be. Kano was sure Tatano would have done whatever was necessary to keep Hitomi safe. Yeah, is Tatano the guy with the cane? Ooh. Stanley broke the long silence. What's on your mind? Still thinking about that call from Kuze? Kano didn't answer. Look, if you're worrying about that other detective, the guy couldn't even protect one girl, Stanley continued. Not exactly a ringing endorsement. Don't you talk about Tatano that way. I'm concerned about Hitomi Hisawa, but the missing attaché case needs to come first. Stanley's expression remained stone cold. Kano flashed him a sidelong glare, then went back to staring out the window. A moment later, a flurry of motion in a nearby alley caught his eye. At the start, he recognized Sasayama. His fellow detective was caught up in the altercation with the man in dark clothes. Kano sprang in his action, his body moving in the most corresponding situation. Sasayama! Flinging the door open, he leapt up the car. Hey, wait! Stanley called after him. Kano was already sprinting toward the fight. Oof! The other man knocked Sasayama over the pile of garbage. As Sasayama struggled to get back to his feet, his opponent looked down at him with a triumphant sneer. Kano finally got a good look at him. His eyes flashed with recognition. It was Perk who'd first taken the attaché case back in the scramble. Tariq Al-Karawan. You! Kano growled. He sped like a bullet, attacking Al-Karawan on the blades. But Al-Karawan nimbly stepped aside. Kano's arms closed on nothing but air. At the same moment, Al-Karawan deftly wrapped an arm around Kano's neck. Kano felt a vice-like pressure on his carotid artery. A move known as the front choke sleeper hold. Constricting this carotid artery stops blood flow to the brain, causing the opponent to lose consciousness, also known as a guillotine choke. His consciousness quickly began to slip away. "Oh, no, you don't, you bastard," he snarled. Lowering his center of gravity, he got hold of one of Al-Karawan's legs and used his shoulder as a fulcrum against him. Ugh! Despite the arm still crushing his neck, Kano managed to lift his opponent high into the air. He continued to move and heave Al-Karawan up and over himself, slamming him upside down into the trash. Stanley strolled up to the aftermath of the struggle. "Well, you've got the brawn part down," he said. "Need some work on the brains." Al-Karawan was sprawled out atop the mound of refuse. He'd been knocked out cold. Sasayama coughed and sputtered. Kano went to help him to his feet, but Stanley stepped in between them. "What are you doing?" Stanley asked. "Helping Sasayama. What does it look like?" "We need to apprehend Al-Karawan first." "He's not even conscious. Sasayama can come first." He pushed Stanley aside and crouched down alongside his partner. "Are you alright?" he asked. "Yeah," Sasayama groaned. You bailing me out, though. Can't let the missus know about that." "Mum's the word," Kano said. He slipped an arm underneath Sasayama and helped him to his feet. "I managed to find the guy who had the attaché case," Sasayama said. "But when I tried to arrest him, this fella came out of nowhere and attacked me." He flashed Al-Karawan a nasty look. "So here we go again, disobeying direct orders," Stanley huffed. "What's the deal with Japanese police, anyway?" He shook his head in exasperation. Sasayama gave Kano a puzzled look, jerking his thumb at the American. "Who's this guy?" "It's a long story," Kano said. He filled Sasayama in on the situation. "Enough chit-chat. Hurry up and cuff this guy," Stanley said. Kano knelt down by Al-Karawan's unconscious body, flipped him over, and proceeded to cuff his hands behind his back. Kano paused. Al-Karawan's sleeve had slid back from his wrist. "What's this?" The unconscious man had a tattoo of a two-headed scorpion on his left forearm. Stanley strode over. "You find something?" he asked. "Yes. I think this guy might be the ringleader." Seeing the image, it reminded Kano of something he'd heard back at headquarters, that the head of the foreign syndicate had a scorpion tattoo. He relayed this information to Stanley. "I see." Stanley called up Kuzu in his cell. "You'll be happy to know that the guy with the attaché case is still at large," he said. "Apprehending the ringleader at this point shouldn't be an issue. One of your so very capable subordinates gave us a big step forward in the case here." "Wait a second," Sasayama murmured. "That was sarcasm, wasn't it?" Stanley hung up and called over to him. "Think you can escort this guy back to the precinct?" "Yeah, sure. Seeing how very capable I am." Kano felt his phone vibrate. The display showed an incoming call from Rumi. "Hello?" he answered warily, keeping his voice down. Stanley had him a little on edge. "It's me." "Oh, sorry. It's me." It was Shizuo. Let. Kano thought he did not have time for this right now. But if he just hung up, he might be even deeper hot water. Kano. Do I hang up on him or decide to listen to what he has to say? I think we should listen to what he has to say. Kano decided that he'd better listen to what the old man had to say. "Hello, sir. I'm afraid I'm not really at liberty to take a personal call right now, even if it is from my father-in-law." He did his best to sound apologetic. "I am not your father-in-law." Yes, of course. Sorry, sir." He bowed his head reflexively, feeling like an idiot. "You really don't give a damn about keeping me waiting like this, do you?" "Sir, I swear to you, I feel terrible. Please, I just..." Flustered, he took a deep breath and recomposed himself. "I promise you, sir. I promise I'll be there. If you can just wait a little while..." "Don't make promises you can't keep." Shizuo's barking rebuke made Kano break out in a sweat. "You think think I'm gonna let you off the hook just because you're working a case? This is exactly why I don't want my daughter with a detective. Great. Another angry tirade. But didn't you used to be a detective, sir? Kano muttered. You watch yourself, you little brat. Enough! You keep calling me your father-in-law. Now to bring that up? Evidently, Kano had touched a raw nerve. Ever have a dentist hit a nerve while drilling a tooth? That's where the expression came from. It seemed like anything he said only made matters worse. Well, you're not off the hook, Shizuo continued. I am never letting my daughter marry the likes of you. His fury hitting its crescendo, Shizuo promptly hung up. Is this a bad end? Why on earth did Shizuo hold such intense malice for police detectives when he'd been one himself? Kano had become a detective for Rumi's sake in the first place, and now it was the biggest thing holding him back. Hey, come on, let's go. Stanley's voice snapped Kano out of his daze. Ugh. Grimly, he followed the American back to the car. Yet again, Stanley was thumping the steering wheel in frustration. Traffic hadn't let up one bit. It was starting to look like they might never make it to the foreign syndicate's hideout. Kano got sight of a girl in a hoodie, weaving right between the spotted cars on foot. He rolled down the window and called out to her. Girl in a hoodie's Miku Morita was a fighter at the Cosplay Fighting Pub Bride, but just decided to retire after losing to Tama the cat in a street fight. She's thinking about what to do with herself now. Excuse me, miss, did something happen? Huh? What do you mean? With the road, I mean. It's a little traffic. Oh, right. Apparently there was some big accident over by the train station. That's probably what's causing it. Really? Yeah, I don't think you guys are going to be going anywhere for quite a while. She smiled and went on her way. Stanley gave the steering wheel another punch. Well, I guess they did say this wasn't just some typical ransom case, he muttered. Kano saw an opportunity. If they're not after the money, then what are they after? Stanley kept his eyes forward, acting as if he hadn't heard. Look, Kano said, I can't help you if you keep me out of the loop. After a few moments of thought, Stanley replied with a single monosyllable. Drugs. What? Maria's father, Kenji Osawa. I assume you're where he works for Okoshi Pharmaceutical? I am. Nothing's been made public yet, but Osawa recently oversaw the development of a new drug. It is not at all uncommon for a new drug to be in development for 15 years or more, with expenses totaling 20 to 30 billion yen, roughly 200 to 300 million US dollars, before it is approved. Worldwide demand and sensational profits can be expected if a groundbreaking medicine is developed. Nonetheless, pharmaceutical companies are often under major pressure due to the tremendous costs of labor and equipment. And someone is trying to get their hands on it. Kano's mind latched onto this new information, trying to assemble the pieces of an evolving puzzle. Someone? Who? An international criminal mastermind. This foreign syndicate is merely a tool in someone else's game. Kano regarded Stanley's face carefully. He looked more cold and serious than ever. So wait, does that mean that the reason we're letting the syndicate walk around unfettered is on my orders, yes? I see. So the only thing you're really concerned with is catching this international mastermind? Precisely. Kano felt like he was starting to get a picture of what sort of person Stanley was. So you don't really care what happens to the girl who's been abducted, do you? Not particularly, no. Why? Do you have a problem with that? Kano clenched his fist. His hand was shaking with anger. Oh, we're gonna get a page from the Dick Diary. Dick Dictum number 8. When you really want to punch something, you really probably shouldn't. You know, that's actually a pretty good axiom for life. Remember that one, folks. Kano recited the words inwardly, like some sort of desperate mantra. If he didn't manage to calm himself down, he was liable to slam his fist right into Stanley's face. Outside the car, the traffic remained at a standstill. Kano chafed against the feeling of utter futility. One after another, his uncertainties came to nag at him. Was Maria still safe? What had happened to Hitomi and Tatano, her bodyguard? And now, on top of all this, it struck with Kano as rather careless to spend Sensasayama away with Al Karawan without any backup. now that Jack had alerted him to the presence of a dangerous international mastermind still on the loose. Fighting back his fit of pique, Kano got out his cell phone. A fit of pique, to do something impulsively out of irritation, resentment, or the like, similar to doing something in a huff. Let's see. We could call up Kajiwara, or we could call Sasayama. I wonder, you know what? If we distract Kajiwara, that might free up Osawa to talk to Tanaka. That's what I'm thinking. So let's do it. He dialed up Detective Kajiwara, who was stationed at the Osawa residence. He upped a little bit more information about the family's two daughters when he shed some light on the situation. The detective answered promptly. Kajiwara here. Hey, it's Kano. Kano? A horrid, jarring beep was audible from the other end of the line. What's that noise? Kano asked. Sorry, hold on. I can't really hear you. Okay, go on. It sounded like Kajiwara had moved away from the source of the noise, though Kano could still hear it faintly in the background. He explained that he was looking for more info on the Osawa girls. Honestly, Detective Kano, I thought you were more mature than this, Kajiwara said, disapprovingly. Come again? Kano said, bewildered. What's with the attitude all of a sudden? You've got a little crush, don't you? Kajiwara told him. What? No, Detective, that isn't what... You mustn't let yourself get personally attached to an investigation. Still, I was young and impulsive myself once. I guess I can tell you one thing. Kano kept his cell phone pressed tight against his ear. The two girls, they look exactly alike. Kajiwara kept his voice low, as if he were revealing a major secret. But Kano knew this already. Everyone assigned to the investigation had been informed that the girls were twins at the previous night's briefing. However, Kajiwara continued, still sotto voce, their personalities are pretty different. The younger sister, Hitomi, is quiet and reserved, but Maria is apparently more of a busybody. Ah, I see. Kano thought back on Hitomi, standing in front of the statue of Hachiko. She had indeed seemed like an introvert, though Kano had also sensed her intense commitment to helping her sister. Perhaps she was less demonstrative, but her heart certainly seemed to be in the right place. Why? Kano heard someone shouting in the background wherever Kajiwara was. What was that just now? He asked. Mr. Osawa, the girl's father. I think something might have happened. Kajiwara's voice was laced with concern. I should go see what this is all about. Yeah, probably. But Kano, tell me, yes? Which one is it? Which one do you have a crush on? Kano hung up. Yeah, that's Kajiwara, alright. At long last, traffic began to move again. Almost as soon as it did, however, Stanley had to slam on the brakes. The abrupt stop made Kano smack his head against the windshield. Man, that's like, what, the second or third windshield smack? Hey, what gives? Look, Stanley said. He gestured with his chin. Man, people are gesturing with their chin. Kano couldn't believe his eyes. There, walking on the sidewalk ahead, was Al Karawan. Very much not in custody. What the hell? Kano shouted, already hopping out of the car. Stanley was right behind him. They crept up on their target as silently as possible, then rushed him once they were close. In a moment, they'd subdued him. Kano used his own body weight to pull the Karawan down. What are you doing out here? He demanded. Oh, hey, guess you didn't get the memo, huh? Al Karawan flashed a coy grin. They let me go. Let you go? I think your buddy here might have hearing problems, Al Karawan said to Stanley. I'm a free man. Kano turned and glared at Stanley. What is he talking about? No idea. First things first, get this guy back to the precinct. I'll head to the syndicate and hang out by myself. You don't think this is weird? Kano asked. I mean, what the heck is this guy doing on the loose again? What matters is that he is free. Maybe he's saying the truth about being let go. But that's ridiculous! Then I guess he must have escaped on his own, Stanley replied. In either case, your buddy screwed up royally. Now it's on you to unscrew things. Another sat right with Kano, but the fact remained that he couldn't just let Al Karawan go. He gave Stanley detailed directions of the hangout, and the car sped away towards Yoyogi. I think we've just entered a bad end. Then Kano headed back to the precinct with his captive, trying to reassure himself that he might learn something from questioning Al Karawan that would help resolve the case. Kano sat opposite Al Karawan in the interrogation room. He'd been attempting to interview the suspect for about a quarter of an hour. Yeah, this is a bad end. Al Karawan sat ramrod stiff, not responding to any prompts or questions. What time is it right now? He asked. He'd taken away his watch, his wallet, a small knife, and his keychain. For the third time, he asked to know the time. Why are you so concerned about what time it is? Kano asked. Al Karawan gave no reply. Are you waiting on something? Again, the suspect was staunchly silent. Kano wasn't sure what to make of this, but he took a look at his watch. It's around 2 o'clock, he said. What time exactly? It's 2:18. 2:18 in how many seconds? Look, just cut the crap! Kano grabbed the prisoner by the collar. What the hell are you people after? Al Karawan merely repeated his question. What time is it right now? With a growl of aggravation, Kano shoved his wristwatch in Al Karawan's face. Ah, he's 2:20, Al Karawan said. Okay then, that should do it. What does that mean? The interrogation went on for several more hours. Despite Kano's best efforts, however, Al Karawan said nothing more. During all that time, the case continued to develop in unexpected ways, but Kano, stuck in the interrogation room, knew nothing about it until everything was over and done. Bad end. 2:20, huh? Questioning. While Kano performed admirably in recapturing Tariq Al-Karawan, ironically, his action actually disrupted the investigation. Maybe letting the syndicate run free for the time being was the right call. Someone could do something at 1340 that throws a wrench into Kano's activities, thanks to the involvement of unrelated parties. And Kano's reaction will make the investigation play out differently. At 1340, huh? Interesting. Who might that be? Is it Osawa? We'll jump in and we'll see if it's Osawa, okay? Because I don't think it's... Yeah, it's not him. We'll do that. So this is the bug tracker. Yeah. Boy, this really changed some story, didn't it? Because we, got rid of the scene with the eggs. Yeah, you can tell him the bug tracker is broken. So we see all this already. And the bug tracker was... Wait, can I... I can't go forward, can I? Nope. Yeah, I wish there was a text skip. It would be so nice if, you've already seen something, you can skip it. Nothing. He checked the area on his computer. Case. Yeah. So he doesn't find anything. Wait, he found a small screwdriver and dismantled the mouse. The brown circuit board was lined with chips, but nothing appeared. This is new. This is new. I mean, out of the ordinary. Still, the mechanical sound continued mocking him. Just try to find it. Go ahead. Look everywhere. Beep, 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 beep. He was being ridiculed. The sound just wouldn't stop. And still, the time ticked past. Had it been 5 minutes? 10? Maybe more? He began to lose hope that he would find listening devices even to stop caring. Instead, he was overcome with the feeling that this room, which for years had been a sanctuary, had ceased to be his own. It was as if something other had intruded and laid claim to his personal space. In his fevered mind, he began to hear the tracker sound as a high-pitched laugh, and a cursed, relentless noise, cruel and taunting, a mockery of the devil himself. Osawa hurled the bug tracker against the wall. He picked it up. When they smashed it back to the floor, they stomped on it ferociously. It was a satisfying snap, accompanied with the sensation of the thing being crushed under foot. The noise stopped. Or, well, it ought to have. But yet, for some reason, the horrid noise kept sounding in Osawa's ears. It wasn't coming from the bug tracker after all. It was inside his own head, somewhere inescapable, echoing within his skull. No, the noise didn't stop, it only grew louder. Why? 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 Sal screamed. Why? Why was he being tormented like this? He couldn't take it anymore. He couldn't even think straight anymore. He felt his mind beginning to dissolve. Is this the bad end? It is! What the heck? What caused that? Brain freeze. Oh! Because the bug tracker was... We distracted Kajiwara, so we needed to change Kano. What Kano did there with the call. So we call, let's call Sasayama instead. He dialed up Sasayama. He wanted to make sure his partner had gotten Al-Karawan back to the precinct safely. Sasayama picked up almost right away. Kano, what's up? How are things on your end? Any problems getting Al-Karawan back? No, I've got Tatano taking care of him. Wait, what? Kano could hardly believe his ears. You were in touch with Tatano? He asked. Wait, so Tatano set him free? Oh, dude, Tatano is the guy with the cane. He could hear the shock in his own voice. Yeah, just bumped into him over by the precinct a little while ago. And he is safe. Kano felt a surge of relief. What about Hitomi then? Stanley glanced over at him, curious. Tatano says he lost track of her somehow. And then he got called back to the precinct, apparently. Tatano had lost track of her? That's not like him, Kano thought. Since he was heading back there anyway, I handed our guy over to him. Sasayama said, I see. Kano was glad to hear that Tatano was alright, but his relief was tempered by a surge of anger at the thought of him losing Hitomi. Now I'm back to tailing the attaché case, Sasayama continued. Today's my wife's birthday, you know? My plan is to wrap this thing up ASAP, so we can celebrate tonight. I've already got a present and everything. I envy you, man. Closing his eyes, Kano took a moment to picture Rumi, but Shizuo's face popped into his mind's eye right alongside her. Well, just hang in there, buddy. Even if your girlfriend is just a picture of Masami Nagahama. Midoriyama Academy graduate and national celebrity, her popularity shows no sign of slowing down after she played the female lead in such films as The Beast That Hoarded Gold at the Heart of the World and The Swidden Fortress. There is another nationally famous actress with the same name, but it is nationally known, in fact, that the two are completely separate people. Ha 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 ha! Still snickering, Sasayama hung up. Kano bit his lip and slipped his phone back into his pocket. Okay. At long last, traffic began to move again. Almost as soon as it did, however, Stanley had to slip on the brakes. Oh, hang on. This is the same scene, isn't it? Yeah, same scene. So, we're stuck at the keep out here with Tanaka arrives. So, is this an important choice? The one where they're talking about the goals? I don't know. They've been trying to ambush Hitomi? The kidnappers have been trying to ambush Hitomi. Well, their sister was in that minivan to lure her to it. And the kidnappers have been lying in wait inside. Do you think they were trying to kidnap me too? That's it. Nachi clapped his hands together. Then they'd let your sister go and demand a ransom from you. And then they'd make her deliver the ransom money for... Oh. Okay, never mind. Same thing. Same thing. Not a difference. What about this? That one we don't want to do. That one we don't want to do. Shoot. I wonder, could I choose... If I choose Tanaka? I don't know. Man. This one's odd. Because that jump doesn't work. That is a bad end. Kidnappers, girls. Oop. Well, we'll make the other choice because I guess it doesn't really matter. I guess making cosmetic choices change things. Still. So we'll just change that. There we go. And that should get us back to the sealed end, which is the bad end for Hachi. That's a keep out. But that's a keep out too, it's not a bad end. So I think we're okay, but I'm confused. Yeah, that's fine. That's a cat suit. Wait, that's the previous hour. We don't need to care about those. Which, I appreciate the game for doing that for us. That's Minoru no. Right? So that's not... Let me see. Next thing down. What is this? Wait. Is this from this hour? Yeah, but that doesn't really matter. This is Kano, but that doesn't matter either because Kano is still stuck in a bad end. Yeah, I'm at a loss for this one because this is... That jumps to Minoru. That also jumps to Minoru, which we've completed Minoru's story already. I wish I knew where the keep out was. This is weird. Well, it's almost 11, so I think this is actually a good time to call it for the evening. So we will start again next Saturday. I'll put the video link up here in a minute. See you then!